Welcome back to another episode of Had to Be There. This episode, like all episodes, is brought to you by our media partner in crime, Furry Turkey. Furry Turkey is home of the Had to Be There podcast, our very awesome merch, and much, much more. Check out furryturkey.com for more information and to check out all the Had to Be There merchandise, including some really fun t-shirts, hoodies, and hats. Hashtag FreeLemmy. Another partner of Furry Turkey is helping bring this podcast to your beautiful ears, and that's the Candy Collection. Candy Collection is home to Daddy Dirt's tattoo-inspired brand. Check out furryturkey.com and find Candy Collection on the homepage and in the topics for some really fun tattoo-inspired clothing, including a sugar skull on a tie-dye tee. Tie-dye's back, y'all. This episode is also brought to you by Board at Work. Board at Work is my skateboard-inspired clothing brand that has a bunch of fun t-shirts and hoodies inspired from my favorite skateboard tricks. Check out all the fun skateboard merch at boardatwork.shop. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoy this episode of Had to Be There. Peace.
Shut up and sit down.
Daddy Dirt and Mommy Mike present Had to Be There podcast.
And if it's quite alright, I love you, baby.
So good.
That was a good song.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Daddy Dirt. Happy birthday to you.
It's one day late, but yeah, thanks.
Hey, we record on Sundays.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
tried my hardest to control when you were born, and I can only do so much.
Youngest 21-year-old you've ever met.
Yeah, man. I'm grooming you, man. Grooming you to take over the podcast. Happy birthday, man.
Thanks.
Are
Thanks.
you
Feels
excited?
good.
Are you excited to be able to vote and buy cigarettes and get off your parents' health
And
insurance
buy
and all
nudie
that?
mags and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to go to Shinder's and buy some porn.
Shinder.
Can't wait to go to Shinder's and buy some
What was
nudie
the
mags.
what was the other
Z's.
place? Yeah, Z's Card Shop and Shinders. It's kind of like it kind of reminds me of Snyder's drugstore.
Oh yeah.
They still exist.
Nope.
They don't.
I
They
don't know.
went out of
Probably
business
not.
probably.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Let's just say no.
Yeah.
Hey, for the purpose of this podcast, nope. They're done.
Dude,
They're out of business.
Dude, what was the one that was in MP? Was that
I think it was
Shinders
just-
or was that a Z?
that was Z's.
Z's.
Yeah.
Yep. That was right
So-
by the bike track.
Hey, come one-stop shop for all your Pokemon cards, baseball cards, and porn. Such a weird business concept.
Yeah. Dude, I've heard my mom was saying the other day that some of her coworkers have, started like collecting cards. They said over quarantine in 1 month they made 10 grand on selling baseball cards.
Dude, that's what Gary Vee's been saying for years. He goes, "Oh, I'm telling you, baseball cards are coming back."
I have
collectors,
I
man.
have some legit baseball cards.
That's because people
Like
have
very expensive ones.
really.
Yeah, like Cal Ripken rookie cards.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have a bunch of
Senior?
them. Junior.
Ooh.
Cal Ripken Junior. No, and I have senior. And I have Ken Griffey Senior's rookie card. I have a bunch of them.
Best baseball video game ever. Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Left, right, left. Ken Griffey Jr. Home run every time.
There's I never really liked baseball games unless they were unrealistic.
Yeah.
They weren't fun. But like NHL games were fun. NHL games were fun even if they were like Hits was really fun.
Hits was the best hockey game. The second best hockey game, Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey.
yeah.
Third best, Chell.
Yeah.
You're not beating Hits or Wayne Gretzky, and it's going to be tough to beat Blitz.
I think NHL games could be the best sports games.
Yeah.
NFL games,
They're the most legit,
Yeah.
where you have the most control of everything that's going on.
Mhm.
That, and I've never played a basketball game, but I would imagine basketball or soccer is somewhat similar.
Soccer's hard.
Yeah.
Some players are really good. It's hard.
Soccer
really
is so
good.
many players.
Yeah, it's really hard to be good.
That's what I liked about like the Wayne Gretzky, or I think like Hits was maybe this way.
Three
where it's 3
players.
on 3.
Yep.
So less to think about.
Yeah, I like that.
Me and old bitch, we would in college we'd play all the time.
Yeah.
Just NHL.
We play
We'd
chill
create
all the time.
Create a team and we'd be on the same team. We would never play against each other.
Yep.
And that's the way to do that game. Play it with each other. I was like decent enough to hold my own, and he was really good at scoring. So it was like I'd get into fights and pass and score some goals, but he was just constant, just one-timers.
Yeah, if we weren't, going to like a party or going to someone's house on a Saturday after a football game, we would just sit and play Chell for hours.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Such a good game.
Yeah. Well, and it's like there's some people that are really, really good, and then you can be pretty average and still win some games. You don't have to be like crazy good to win. I would get dominated by some people.
There was this one kid that lived on our floor sophomore year.
Hey, these are really good, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, these are
really smooth.
These stogies.
Yeah.
I'm
like
feeling,
these.
I'm
These are
feeling
like
already.
these are pretty similar to the first time that we ever smoked those 4 kicks over
Yeah.
here when we sat outside.
What are
These
these
really
called?
good. Perdomo.
Biggest label in the game.
Yeah. They definitely don't save money on the label.
Hey, how could we get more people to like remember us? Oh, put a bigger label on your cigar.
Yeah, you rip it off anyway. Well, some people don't. Some people don't take them off.
That's what I'm saying. They're doing themselves a disservice by taking it off like that.
Well,
'Cause
they're
you
making
have to
they're
take it
doing a
off.
disservice by making it that big.
Yeah, because you have to
Yeah.
take it off.
Yeah.
There wasn't an option.
Dude, okay, like we were talking about in the car, about like spending money on stuff. I was thinking about this and how I was telling you guys I found stuff on I feel like I'd get a little judged by the other 2 people we were golfing with. But I bought I went online and, on Instagram and I said I always find this like really cool shit. Well, I don't know why. I don't have like an affinity for like having this type of stuff. I really just think it's a cool design.
Braziers.
I've always wanted like a Louis Vuitton card holder. Like a wallet.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they're $400.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm never buying one of those. Well, I found a guy who cuts up designer bags and makes his own. So he makes them into different things, but he doesn't just do one pattern. He does 2. So
he can make them like he can buy one bag and make 20 wallets.
Yeah, he's probably making $1,000 on each bag.
This is like the rich kid version of duct tape wallets back in the day.
Mm-hmm. So I bought one, and it's Louis Vuitton and Gucci, and so each different one is the different pattern. It's really cool.
That's cool.
It's really cool, and it was 1/4 the price.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I'm gonna splurge a little bit just because I've always wanted one.
Well, and do you know if he's buying like knockoff bags?
No,
and
he's buying all genuine
legit? 'Cause,
bags.
I mean, who the fuck cares
Yeah,
if it is?
he's
But it's
buying
just
all
like,
genuine.
yeah.
Well, from what he shows, because he's shown the cut up bag.
Okay.
So like he basically strips the entire bag of the stitching, and then he'll pull off the handles, and he'll make different stuff out of the handles. He'll pull stuff off of the the lining and everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
I've never felt more insufficient and poor than walking into the Louis Vuitton store.
I never have. Why bother?
It was downtown Paris, right off like the main strip of like where all the shops are.
Yeah.
Never felt more poor.
It'd be so cool. Like, I never went in Chicago, but they have that Burberry store in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's just I just think it's cool. I don't really care about having that type of stuff, but I think some of the patterns are really sweet.
That's what, like, in Iowa, I obviously wasn't buying anything
Yeah.
in there, but it was just like, it was crazy to go in there and be like, oh, there's people that walk in here and can buy this type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just nuts.
Yeah.
You look in there and like that's where, like, that strip is where movie stars probably go on vacation and buy their stuff.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
And I was like, I'm not buying a $400 wallet, but
Dude, I couldn't afford the coat check.
Sure, can we check your coat?
Hey, can I go to the bathroom? No, that's €27. Oh, okay, I'll just wait. I'll just go in the streets like
I'll hold it.
everyone else.
I'll hold it. Yeah. So, dude, Instagram's got some cool shit. Have you noticed how many more places or how many more companies are doing giveaways?
Yeah.
Like trucks or cars?
Yeah.
Dude, I see a new one every week.
I feel like up and coming businesses, like I feel like
It's a lot of merchandise companies.
yeah, I don't know how to say this either. I feel like influencers or like girly companies, like things that my wife follows.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that.
It's fine. More girl-centric merchandise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
It's
like
fine.
influencers or something.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to be PC or anything. I just didn't.
No, I know, you're being, like, super
I didn't
sexist.
know how to.
Yeah,
I
you're being
didn't know-
sexist.
I didn't know what the word
But
was.
whatever. I mean, guys can like that stuff too. But yeah, it's super sexist.
They do giveaways all the time, like free
Yeah.
dresses or photographers and
Yep.
stuff doing free photo shoots.
I
and-
think Lady won a free
that's
veil
what I'm saying.
for her wedding.
That's
For the
where
wedding.
it's coming from.
For her wedding.
What? Well, wife said ladies always tagging her in giveaways
Yeah.
and stuff, and it's just like I was like, oh yeah, Daddy Dirt and I do the same thing where it's like,
Yeah.
we're that's how you know you're close, where it's like, yeah, I can tag this person in a giveaway and they won't be mad.
Yeah, it's like a gun giveaway or something like that. I
Yeah.
follow one that does like a gun giveaway Friday, and so they do one gun giveaway on the first Friday of the month, and then they run the giveaway the whole month.
I hate those ones where it's like this, comment, and tag 3 friends. Hey, give a guy a chance. Only have 2.
Yeah. Have you seen? Have you seen though? They can't do. You legally can't do a giveaway because you can't require people to make purchases. So you could. They say purchase not required.
Yeah.
Every giveaway. So if you read the stipulations, you can either do what they're doing on Instagram, where you do have to make a purchase, or you can mail in. You can mail in like your entry. You can mail in your entry.
Hey, do you know what happens to those? They go
Thrown in the
right
garbage.
in the trash.
Yeah.
It's like what Trump wants to do with all the mail-in ballots. They're gonna go straight to the trash. That's where your giveaways go.
Oh, dude. That's going to be a shit show. That's going to be a shit show.
Oh yeah, take sides out of it. This election, with the pandemic and shit, regardless, this election would be a shit show. With the pandemic and all the trying to get everyone to vote and all these different things, it is gonna be a shit show. I was joking about it for your bachelor parties like that weekend after. We're not gonna know.
No.
We're not gonna know who's running this country.
No. And
I don't know if we know now, but we're
we're
not gonna know.
No. And did you see they're doing an investigation of the postmaster?
Yeah.
How is it? How they're saying that they won't be able to get ballots out on time. How? If the federal government gives you all the ballots, how can you not get them out on time? Dude, it's insane.
It seems so simple. Like it should be so simple to just
Get them on a Wednesday, get them
Hey,
get them to everybody.
Doesn't every registered vote. I guess you don't have to register ahead of time to vote though. That's the kicker.
problem.
If everyone was registered ahead of time and everyone had an address, you could register to vote and they could just send a ballot to every registered voter. And then those are all the ballots that goes out. I guess who really cares? I mean, there's no way to know who fills them out.
Well, and
But you have just cap them at all the registered voters, send them out, and send them back in.
this may be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure, like a couple years ago, Republicans were pushing very hard for voter registration, right? They wanted everybody to be registered prior to voting. And I'm pretty sure it was Democrats were pushing against that because for some people it's very difficult to get registered because they're living in different places or for whatever reason, right?
Mhm.
It's very difficult. You have to have an ID to get registered. And some people didn't have IDs at the time.
Yeah.
So it was a very big push on the Republican side to say you have to get an ID.
Oh yeah.
be
I remember
registered-
This.
You still don't have to, I don't think.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting how
What-
it's all done.
What I don't understand is why don't they try to do this all in one day with
Give people a
with
week.
COVID, open it up on a Tuesday and give it through the following Monday
Yeah.
and give everyone a week to vote. And if you can't get in to vote by then, well then you just it's not going to happen.
It's an RSV dude, it's like an
but-
RSVP for a wedding.
Yeah. But just get in, give people more time so they can be more spread out.
Yeah.
There can be more time to clean in between things. People don't have to rush or try to. If we're trying to, it seems like the mail-in thing is causing so much contention. I'm not on either side. I'm smack dab. I don't have a home. So, but it just seems like there's, regardless of how that ends up, it's not going to go well. There's going to be contention about it. Give people a week to vote.
Yeah.
Have people stand 6 feet apart. Don't make people wait in line all day to vote. Have it open for a week and people can vote at their leisure.
Well, and why do we have to have this thing where it's I don't understand why it's become such a you have to go to a registered voting place. just go drop it off somewhere.
Dude, what if they had live counts too, and you had that's a good idea. But what if they had live counts that's open for a week? Like the longer it goes on, the more people are gonna vote. And depending on how if they had like a live count, you could get like, depending on how it's going, you might get a lot more percentage of the country voting.
With the technology we have,
because people see, oh, this state's up or this state's up or whatever, I'm gonna go vote.
With the technology we have today, why in the fuck are we still filling out scantrons?
Like on the ACTs?
No, but that's how you vote.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You put it into a machine and it counts your vote. Why the fuck are we still doing it that way?
Well, dude, if you think about it, that's all school really prepared us for, was coloring in bubbles.
Making patterns and coloring in bubbles.
Hey, we're not going to teach you how to balance a checkbook or pay your taxes or look into mortgages. Well, but we'll tell you how to fill in bubbles so you can go color in your vote.
Dude, that's the craziest thing. Bringing up mortgages. I'm so naive to all that. Like having a conversation with a mortgage broker.
Oh, it's, you never, there's levels to the adulthood, and that's a huge level, and I've gone through it and still not past that.
The thing
hurdle.
that I don't,
it's going to be a brand new experience the next time I go through
The thing I don't understand is the assessment.
Yeah.
I do not understand it.
Yep.
If you buy a house, that's how much you pay for the house.
Yeah, right? It's like you don't have a car and be like, oh, I said I'm going to pay $20,000 for this car, and then have someone go, oh, well, it's
but the market value,
it's actually worth 24, so good on you.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
So that's what I don't get. So if you pay more than what the market value is or the assessment price, if you pay more,
well, so the
do you have to pay the difference?
No, the assessment is kind of to give you an idea of like where you're at in the market.
But then don't you have to pay a penalty? Isn't there a penalty fee?
No, because that's how people get into bidding wars and stuff. It's like so if you're selling your house, you come and get an assessment, and they tell you what it's worth.
Yeah.
Like down to the bone, here's what it's worth, here's like what you've put into it. And then you take that for what it is. It's an arbitrary number. It doesn't matter. It's like a guideline.
Yeah.
And you go, okay.
But don't they reassess it after people put in bids?
And I think the assessment is more so important for like homeowners for property tax reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can challenge that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, and like apparently, like you're supposed to challenge it. I never knew.
Yeah, you're supposed to challenge the assessment price.
Yeah, because they just come up and like every year they come and reassess your property.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get it. That's the one thing I don't understand. I really don't understand.
And then you have to go to them and you're like, they come to you and you go, hey, good news, your house is worth this much, and you go, no, it's not. It's a piece of shit.
But if you pay, but like
because you don't want to pay more property tax. You go, no, they're like. It's not worth that much. No, wait, but you want to sell it for twice as much as what they're actually assessing.
But now it doesn't matter. Like, so when people were paying less than market value, there was a penalty. You had to pay the difference. Now houses are going for more than market value, so there's no difference. I think if you pay under market value, what it's assessed at, you do have to pay the difference.
That's what they call pandemic privilege.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I don't understand.
We've never lived in a world where people are buying houses on the cheap.
But why? That's what I'm saying. But if you bought it, if you put in a price, they accept your offer and it's under market value. Okay, that's what I bought it for. Why am I paying more?
Why are you getting angry at me? I'm not your realtor.
But you know what I'm saying? It's so messed up. It's so dumb.
It's all numbers. They don't mean anything. The whole money system doesn't mean anything. It's all arbitrary. Yeah,
it's all fake money.
My cigar's already out.
Yeah, I know. You put it down for fucking 15 minutes. Yeah, it's something. Sister and brother-in-law. So he said they didn't get the house they put an offer on because I think there were 17 other offers. She went to Lady's bachelorette party. She came back early on Sunday because they were gonna go see 3 different houses.
She went home on Saturday.
Did she? Saturday night. Yeah, because they were going to go see him on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
She went home Saturday. They were going to go see 3 places. All of them sold. before they could go see them.
Well, he was saying this place that they lost the offer on was on the market Friday.
Yeah.
It's Sunday.
Mhm.
17 offers.
Mhm.
That's insane.
And they're offering
Yeah,
a
he said
significant
he
amount
was
over.
going
20
well,
over.
well above.
I think they went 20 over.
Which is stupid. Like in my opinion, that's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You shouldn't be buying more just because you want a house.
But now they have to. I mean, you
Yeah.
have to now
Yeah.
if you really want to get into a
Yeah,
house.
I suppose. It's
Which
all,
they're
it's
in a
all the
good
market,
spot.
but it just sucks. Like,
Yeah.
it just I would hate doing that.
Yeah, they're in a good spot though. Like
And then you're rolling the dice. You're like, oh, I hope the economy keeps up. Like,
I've talked to my mom about it, and like they're in a good spot where they don't have to move, so they're in a really good position where it's like we don't have to move, we can stay where we're at, so we're gonna offer on what we really want, and if we don't get it, oh, okay, we didn't get it.
yeah,
It's the best position to be
yeah.
because
So
if you
you're not buying, you're not putting X amount extra on to something just to get something. You're
Well,
like,
you don't
hey,
get-
there's something that we really want,
and you
so
don't get
it's-
devastated when you don't get it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
I'm sure when if you go through 20 of them, that might get a little discouraging. But
I wonder if it just becomes like part of the game though. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that first one sucks.
Mhm.
Like we dealt with that a little bit when we were looking at places, but it was just like we'd kind of like wait on it and be like, should we go look at that place again and be sold?
yeah,
But it was never like this place. When we looked at it, we were almost gonna put an offer in before we came and looked at it
yeah,
because it was just like we had looked at a lot. It's a townhouse, so it's like they all look the same.
Yeah.
They're all about the same. So by the pictures, you could kind of start to tell what's nice and what's not nice.
yep,
And by the pictures, I was like, "Oh, this is one of the nicer ones that we've seen." Just
Yeah.
like didn't really need a whole lot of upkeep, and just some of like the nuances, like some of like the mantle above the fireplace on some of them were huge, where they'd like stick out like
Yeah.
into the room, just like weird shit like that.
yep.
But it's like we came to this place on I think it was a year ago yesterday. It was on your birthday.
Oh, really?
Because
oh,
we
yeah,
met
yeah.
you at downtown for drinks after.
Yep.
And we came and looked at it, and like we spent like 20 minutes in, and we're like, "Yep, okay, we got to go." And we like went and grabbed drinks.
Yeah, I
and
remember
we
that.
went home and like wrote a letter and like put our offer in
Yep.
essentially.
The thing that I don't understand.
But there were 7 offers that day, and it just went on the market like Sunday.
I have a hard time. I get why people want letters. I have a hard time with the whole emotion behind selling a house. It's a transaction at the end of the day. If I tear the thing down to the ground, why do you give a fuck?
Oh
If you're selling it, why do you care?
well, dude, I have a buddy at work who he buys houses and rents them out.
Yeah.
And he's got like 4 houses now, 3 or 4 houses now.
Yeah.
And then him and his wife just built a nice house. He'll go through and like he's like, I feel bad sometimes because these like old people that are selling their like homes that they've like built
30-year
up and
home.
lived in, and
Yeah.
they're like, I'm looking at it and I bring my wife and she's pregnant and stuff, and he's like they just assume that we're living there, and he's like, it's like hard not to like mention like, oh no, I'm just gutting this place, redoing it and renting it out.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
transaction.
Yeah.
That's what I don't get, the
But
whole
it is,
emotion
like,
behind it.
I think we got this one because your boy
Yeah.
played some emotion into it.
Yeah.
Because we saw the lady that had this place had a black lab picture on her dresser in her closet.
Yeah.
And we love black labs. We always want to get a black lab. We're actually getting a black lab next year. And we saw that and we're like, oh, there's our ticket in. Because we go, oh, we can't wait to like, and like just walk. And it wasn't bullshit. We like legitimately
Yeah.
felt this, but like walking in, like we could feel like it just felt like a home. We could see where we're going to have Christmas. We had like the first thing I knew, I was like, Christmas tree goes right there. Boom.
Yeah.
That was like every house we went and looked at. I was like, where does the Christmas tree go?
Yeah.
And I'm not even like, I love the holidays and stuff.
It's more about
But it's just like, it's more about the vibe of the house. Like,
Yeah.
I love the holidays and having like a certain vibe. It's like, where does the Christmas tree go?
Yeah.
Where's this? Where do we hang out? Where do we do this? And it's
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, it's interesting. I just have a harder
yeah,
time with that.
I get what you mean, but I also get it because I feel like you, and like this place, it's like, I think that our letter helped, but I don't really know. I think it was more like our offer. And we
Yeah.
didn't offer above anything. We just offered at asking price. And,
Yeah.
But it was a quick offer, and we had some like,
Quick closing, not a
some
whole bunch of
leverage.
contingencies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. We had 0 contingencies on anything.
Yeah.
And but you just, I don't know.
That's why townhouse prices stay pretty
so
consistent.
What I was saying is, like this place, you don't have like a lot of sentiment, but if if it's a place that you like built
Yeah.
and are selling or like remodeled and have like raised your kids and family in there, you want it to go to someone who's like, oh yeah, they're gonna like honor this house. I've put like my life into this house. I get that aspect of it too.
Yeah.
But like, these places,
don't. I have a
if
hard time with
if
that.
if you just have like a house and you lived in it, like I don't get that part of it at all.
Yeah.
But I get it if you're like, I put my heart and soul into this house, and like that's what you're buying. I made this, and in reality, most people aren't ever buying a house for anything you did to it. They're gonna do everything different that you did.
Yeah.
They're gonna hate everything you did.
Well, like my parents, they built their house, and like when they were selling it, they're like, "Are you guys, like, do you guys want us to keep the house? Like, what do you guys think?" They asked all of us, and I looked at them and I go, "I mean, it's not my house. I didn't do anything. We grew up there, but like, I don't have any sentimental connection to the house."
Yeah, I used to be that way. I was the only house I've really been that way was my grandparents' first house that I kind of lived. Me and my mom lived there when I was really young.
Yeah.
And I like when they were selling it, I carved my name with car keys into the banister. I go, fuck you. I was 3. I go, fuck you. This is my house. I didn't even spell my name right. I go, this is mine.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me. It's
and I was
so
like,
interesting.
I'm buying that house.
Or like
someday.
people,
now, nope, piece of shit house.
or like people get offended. Like you give them like a low. Now you can't give low offers, but like you give someone a low offer and they don't even counter you. It's like,
oh, my grandpa went through that. He goes, well, like he'd get like stuff that he was asking for way more than what it was worth, and he'd get stuff that was less than what he was asking, but more than what it was worth, and he'd just be like,
but why get emotional about it? Like either come back with a counter.
This is a custom built house.
Yeah, like.
No one cares.
Yeah, like either just give a counter or say no, I'm not accepting. Don't get like all pissed about it. Who cares? Yeah. It's a shitty offer. Great, it's a shitty offer. Move on. I don't know. I don't have any emotion wrapped behind it. It's a transaction at the end of the day.
Dude, welcome back to another episode of Property Brothers,
where
you come to us with your property, and we tell you exactly what's wrong with it.
We'll give your honest opinion.
Yeah, we'll give you the Property Brothers appraisal. Piece of shit. Oh, your house? Piece of shit.
Oh, is someone just gonna gut the entire thing and redo the whole thing? Yeah, they probably will. They're gonna write you a really nice letter and tell you that they won't. They'll keep it exactly how it is.
I mean, a home? I don't know about a home. McDonald's drive-through maybe, but turn this place into a home?
Yeah.
I'm so exhausted from being out in the heat and golfing all day. I have De Niro eyes. I have permanent De Niro eyes.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
I'm Robert De Niro the rest of the day because I am exhausted.
Dude.
And my calves are sunburnt to shit.
Really?
Yes. The back of my legs are fried.
Dude, I'll give it to you. I was giving you shit about liking golf. You've got your game pretty much figured out. I think I've kind of figured out not what's wrong with your swing, but I think I figured out like the mechanic. Yeah, but like the mechanics of how you stand. Your club face, the club face is not sitting on the ground how it should. So like when you're lining up on the ball, the heel of your club is sitting on the ground and the blade's sitting like this. You want it to be more like this when you're hitting on it.
Okay.
So you could line up closer to the ball.
Okay.
If you line up closer to the ball and more, you don't want to be over top of it. But the way that you swing,
like almost
that's
on
why
the other side of it.
That's why, yeah, on the left side of it. That's why you're slicing it, because it's bleeding out to the right because you're not standing over top of it. So you even may be getting your hands around, but the club face when you're hitting it is automatically like this.
I wonder if I hit my irons better because I have it further back in my stance because of that.
Yeah, and lining it up in your stance would help.
Which I do. I do that, right?
Yeah, I noticed that.
I think you're right. I think it's...
you just got to stand over top of it.
Yep.
And
those clubs are short.
Yeah, so that's the problem, because
my
you're
arms
compensating.
are long.
You're compensating for it, and your right shoulder is dropped. So like when you really ground the club, your right shoulder's completely dropping. So when you're getting a big chunk of the ground, it's when you're picking your head up, and then you're dipping your right shoulder.
Yeah. So I probably pick my head up because I'm dipping my shoulder, and then I got to come back up.
Yep.
Yeah.
But like when Craig's hitting the ball, he hits. So when he takes big chunks, you're taking a chunk at the ball. His is like a pro swing.
Yeah.
So he's hitting the ball and then taking it after he hits the ball.
Okay, gotcha. So that's why his always sounded chunky, but they would fly.
They'd fly because
Okay.
he has a really like pro style swing.
Yeah.
Because they come down on it and they get a whole bunch of backspin on the ball because they're hitting the ball at an angle like this, and right after they hit it, they take that massive
Yeah,
chunk.
I have a swoopy swing.
Yeah.
I feel like.
So you're hitting a chunk of the ground while you're hitting the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like my hockey swing's kind of the same way. It was more of
Hit
like a
the ice.
swoopy. I was always good at
Yeah.
wrist shots. I was never really good at slap shots.
Because you're hitting the ice
Yeah.
first. Yep.
Mhm.
He has his high irons. He hits the ball.
Dude, he didn't pull out his driver till the back nine.
Yeah, and he hit it once, and he was like, nope, never hitting that again. Yeah.
Because we were driving, you're like, dude, he rips
He
it. I
does.
thought he was gonna have his driver out all
Yeah.
the time.
And you saw
What-
it when he hit it,
What iron was he hitting?
driver iron. So he bought a driver iron, which is like it's a flat face iron, and it's fatter, so you can get more contact on the ball. So he hit
Okay.
his driver iron, which it hits a little bit less than his driver, but you saw some of his.
He was so accurate.
Yeah.
I mean,
You can control it better.
90%, 85, 90% of the time.
You can control your irons a lot better. But like you saw with my drives, if you hit it perfect, it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my brother, that
That's-
tiny little driver, that thing you can smash.
Yeah.
If you hit it right, you can smash it.
Well, drivers too, like they should be fit for your swing because they're like all the flex and like the face and
Yep.
like everything. Like you got, and depending on how you tee up the ball or how you tee up the ball depends on your driver. Like
Yep.
it's driving is so there's so many nuances to it where
Yep.
you can't like guys love to just pick up another guy's driver and swing it. It's like. Oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a big meaty head or something.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna swing that like you would if that was your club.
Mm-mm.
Like it's not a good gauge of like, oh, I need to get that club. If
Yeah.
I suppose if you swing it and rip it right away, it's like, oh yeah, that'd probably be a good club for me.
Yeah.
But if you swing it and it doesn't go well, it doesn't mean it's a bad club for you.
No.
You
You just
have to
haven't swung it.
adjust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I can swing that club, the driver that my brother has, I can pound that thing. But if I tried to pick it up now versus the driver I'm using now, I could probably barely hit it.
Hey, your brother, really good.
Yeah, he's really good. He
Yeah.
didn't play well today, but you can tell when he hits some shots, you're like, oh, that's a different type of swing.
Mentally, he's really good
Mm-hmm.
too. Like he gets. You'll hear when he has like a bad swing. Oh, come on, hit," like.
Yeah.
But he just bounces right back. He doesn't weigh on. He doesn't get angry.
Yeah, that's kind of why I like playing with him because like I used to get angry. Now I just don't because I'm out there to have fun.
I was just gonna say that. I'm surprised that you're not an angrier golfer.
No, I used to be, but
Really?
now I'm like, now I just realize like, oh, I'm just still trying to figure out these clubs. If I really had them figured out, I think I'd get more frustrated. But it's like, I don't know.
My uncle, angriest golfer you've ever doesn't surprise
It's
you,
not-
but angriest
no.
golfer you've ever met.
Well,
He
it's-
breaks the club almost every time. He
It's
goes.
hard to play. It's hard to play that way.
It's It's like it's hard to play with people like that too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, if they're struggling, it's like, oh God, can I even like talk about like the nice shot that someone else just had, or
Mhm.
like, should I miss this putt, or like,
Well, and it helps my brother too. I'm sure playing with us because like, you're gonna hit a bad shot. We're probably still gonna give you shit, and so you're gonna have to get over it.
yeah,
Like you don't have a choice to not get over that shot because you're gonna get shit for it.
yeah,
Because we're just having fun.
yeah. You hit a perfect shot. I'm giving you shit.
Yeah,
for it.
right. Exactly. Yeah. It was fun though. I
I'm-
really like that course.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm always nervous to golf with a new crew,
Yeah.
and it went pretty well.
Yeah. Well, and
I held my own better than I held my own on the driving more than I thought I was, and I fucked up more on the chipping more than I thought I
your
would.
pitching's really good. It's your distance chipping,
Yeah,
and that's everybody's game though. The thing that separates the pro golfers from everybody else, if you can even pound the ball but you can't chip, like I can't really hit my irons. I
Yeah.
have a very hard time. It's very hit or miss. That's the thing that separates them.
yeah,
Because they can put that iron wherever they want.
yeah. I'm probably decent. I don't want to say decent because I'm not. I don't know if I'm decent, but chipping's probably the better part of my game because that's actually what I would practice. Like
Yeah.
I would just go in my backyard and just hit the ball
Easy.
back and
Yeah,
forth.
it's easy
and-
to
yeah,
practice.
mhm.
Yeah, and you have good touch.
Oh, and my touch, dude.
Ask my
Dude,
wife.
ask my wife about my touch, man.
Yeah, but like that's the thing is like you're putting on a majority of the greens. really good touch.
Yeah.
Really, really good touch, which I have a very hard time
with
with
a
it.
shit putter.
Yeah, and I have a very hard time with putting because I have very little touch.
It's hard too. Like if you're not playing a course consistently, that like some of those greens on that course were really hard.
Yeah.
Or like if they're really slow,
Yeah.
it's just like it takes 3-4 holes to get into how to putt on that course.
Yeah.
I like putting. Like it's just fun. Like
Yeah.
it's more about like the angles and like you can control it more. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do there was a couple where I'm like I probably like a couple of those ones where like I like when I was on in 2
Yeah.
and I should have just putt to get close.
Yeah.
I'm always like by the time I'm usually putting, it's for like snowmen.
Yeah.
So it's like who the fuck cares? I'm gonna go big or go home.
Yeah.
So when I capitalize on like some good shots, I need to focus on like my putting and short game where it's like, okay, I don't need to get it in the hole. It might be smarter to hit a little short and get it close to the hole
Mm-hmm.
and play that versus like I'm never trying to get it near the hole. I'm always trying to get it in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like, okay, I should maybe aim like to this left patch next to the hole, and if I tee it up there, then it's like an easy tap in for par.
Yeah, especially when you're above the hole. If
Yeah.
you're above the hole, you might as well just try to get it close. Because if you go at the hole, you're probably going 10 feet past it.
Which I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
A lot today.
Yeah. Those greens were, I mean, the pin placement was on some of the court
some of those
impossible.
were just straight uphill.
Mm-hmm. Not sitting on a plateau.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's like we were talking about, pretty forgiving course though. I mean,
Yeah.
for a link style
Mhm.
course, if you hit it relatively close to the fairway, you're gonna be fine. But if you hit it off the rough, you're in deep trouble.
That compared to like Windsong's kind of a similar course
Mhm.
style wise, I guess.
Windsong's more technical though, to where you have to pick clubs.
Yeah.
This one you don't have to pick a
Yeah,
club.
that's what I'm saying.
You're hitting a
Like,
driver.
Windsong, you're losing a lot more balls than
Yeah.
you at this. And they look like if you flew over, they'd look pretty similar.
Yeah.
Windsong's a little bit tighter
And it's more up
and more.
almost the entire course. I think because my brother worked there. I think he said 80% of the course is uphill.
Was he a caddy?
No, he was the head of the clubhouse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he said, I think he said about 80% of it, because back when he was in high school, I think that was the high school's course, so they'd play that to practice.
Seriously?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Because forever it was just like the local
it was Baker.
course. Oh yeah,
It was
right,
Baker.
You're right.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
they'd play their matches at Baker, but they'd practice at Windsong.
Okay.
And Baker's a tough course.
Yeah.
Baker's a really hard course.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, my mom was on the high school golf team,
Really?
and they played there. Yeah.
She
got a hole in one.
Where?
Do you know that hole on the championship course where you're coming up and then you cross over with the evergreen and there's that barn there?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it was a hole in one, but it was either a hole in one or she hit it from the fairway. I forget what the hole was because last time I looked at it, I was like, I wonder what actually went down because she always exaggerates stories.
Yeah.
But so it was either a hole in one or like a fairway shot for 2, bounced it off the barn and rolled it into the hole.
That's the first hole.
Maybe
With the red barn on the right? That's the first hole.
No, that's the little barn. I think.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Okay, it's on the back side of the course.
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
that course.
It's like a hole 5 on the evergreen where the
Yeah,
barn's
yeah.
up on the right and
Yep.
you hit it up on the hill and if
Yeah.
you go down to the right, you're in a gully, but there's a barn up on the other side of the
Yeah,
gully.
Yep.
Yeah.
That course. I can imagine you get in pretty good shape walking that course because that course is really long,
Yeah.
super long. I played a course out in so the average or like long courses are like between 67 to 7,000. I played a course out on the East Coast, 8,300 yards from the tips. It was insane. They had a par. They had a hole that could have been a par 6. It was that long. From the tips, it was like 760 yards.
So that's the other thing, dude, today. I feel like we were playing from tees I wouldn't normally play from. I feel like I would have been up a tee. Like if me and you were
the
going,
whites.
if me and you were going, wouldn't we have played from the whites? Or is that seniors?
That's seniors normally.
Okay, maybe that's why I play from the whites because I always golf with my grandpa.
Yeah, because when I play with my brother, like when we play courses out in
Blacks, usually?
Michigan, we play from the back. Yeah, because
Or does it go blue and then black technically?
black is the back. Yeah,
Okay.
black is the back usually.
Yeah.
So we usually play from the back because it's like,
So you
well,
and
we
I
want to
would
play
probably
the
play
course.
from like the blues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would have been the golds where we were playing today.
Okay.
It would have
Okay.
been from the
Gotcha.
golds. Yep.
Gotcha.
But because when I'm playing a course once, like this one's fun to play from the golds because it's like we'll probably play it again.
Yeah.
When we play like out in Michigan, we'll play from the back just to see how hard the course really is.
Yeah.
Because like when I was describing that one hole, when you play from the black, you're carrying cattails and you're hitting between 15 yards of trees, which is super hard. It's fun though.
Where did you play? Where were you on the East Coast that you played?
Pennsylvania. It was it's a carrier's resort.
Oh, is that when you were in Philly for a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So they have that course out there. It's sweet. It's really fucking hard. Probably one of the hardest courses I've ever played because it was so long. And even if you can smash the ball, it's still long.
When you're playing Sawgrass coming up, right?
Yeah, PVC Sawgrass.
Dude, I didn't know. I didn't think that was in Minnesota. I thought that was like down south somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's in. Is it in Georgia?
I think so. That's what I was gonna say.
I think it's in
Yeah.
Georgia.
I wanted to say that, but I didn't want to sound any dumber than I'm already
I think
sounding.
it is because that's where the Masters is in Georgia.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think that's where TPC Sawgrass is.
Yeah. Different course though.
Different course.
Yeah.
But yes, I think there's a lot of courses in Georgia, probably because it's easy to grow nice grass in Georgia because of the climate.
There's nothing in Georgia either. They have nothing but space.
I've never been. I've only been to Perimeter.
I've been to Atlanta when I was like 6 or 5 or something. Like I don't remember it at all, so I can't count it.
Yeah, I've only been to the Perimeter, which is super weird that they call one of their cities the Perimeter. You'd think it'd go around all of Atlanta, but it's actually a city called Perimeter.
Oh, I thought you were saying like, oh, I was in the proximity of Georgia.
No.
Like,
I think it's
that's on
called.
the border.
I'm pretty sure it's called Perimeter.
What do they call the other lines on Georgia? They got the Florida-Georgia line. What's the other line?
Yeah, it's fun.
Oh yeah, we got down south. We got the Florida-Georgia line. Up here, we just got a tenacious perimeter.
I can see why people, especially during quarantine, got more into golf. Because
Yeah.
it's just, I mean,
even your brother, like, he went out and played 9 probably before we even were there on that little par 3. Or is that a 3-hole deal? Do you say a par 3 or a 3-hole
it's
deal?
par 3. I
Okay.
don't know how many holes there are. But it's free. Apparently, you can just go and play. You can just walk on and go play that par 3.
Nice.
It's a good idea. Yeah, it's a super smart idea. You got the land for it. Which, that was a cool area out there. I've never been out that direction.
I wouldn't be mad either at playing the par 3 walking on and then playing like front or back 9.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because honestly, 18 is usually too much for me. Today was I'm surprised because my first time out this year. I'm surprised I wasn't more tired or sore. Or usually and maybe that says something about like how my swings developed a little bit. Or usually my arms are falling off by 18.
I'm usually the same way. I swung a lot easier today than I
Yeah,
usually
I
do.
think that's it too. I never was putting a lot into it.
Yep. Yeah.
I came in kind of tired.
It was more relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because usually I have to try to swing for the fences.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a couple times where I felt myself over swinging a little bit, usually in a practice swing, but a couple times in real swings, I was just like, oh, that just feels wrong.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you don't swing the clubs a lot, you're not used to swinging. Welcome to the PGA podcast.
Hey, welcome to the Swingers Club, dude.
Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, 'cause that stroke is so PGA.
Who else was on that fight card last night other than Sugar Sean and Cormier?
Rosenstrike, he was a heavyweight fighting Junior Dos Santos. Rosenstrike won.
Mm-hmm. Does he have the belt?
No.
Oh, Ngannou has it. No.
Cormier and Stipe fought for the
Oh,
belt last
okay.
night. Yeah.
So is it Rosenstrike?
So Rosenstrike
Stipe?
just lost to Francis. The
Yeah.
one that we watched where Francis like bull rushed in,
Mhm.
that was Rosenstrike.
Yeah. Okay.
Rosenstrike beat Junior Dos Santos last night. Stipe won last night. It was a really good fight. DC poked Stipe in the eye, I think, in the second, and he got like a 30-second break. And then at the end of...
I think Cormier gets smoked in the eye.
Yeah, so maybe it was at the end of one, Stipe got poked in the eye. Or in one, Stipe got poked in the eye, got a little break. And then end of two, end of 2 or 3, DC got, I think it was end of 2, DC got poked in the eye. The ref didn't see it, and he, like, ran away and was like, he poked me in the eye, and the ref was like, no, that was a punch. And it was an eye poke. But his eye was bothering him before, Dana was saying. But the eye poke was bad, dude. It went deep in there, and I don't think DC couldn't see out of his eye the rest of the fight. But at the end of 2, okay, so that the eye poke was at the end of 3. At the end of 2, Stipe lost 1. At the end of 2, he caught DC and had him up against the fence, full mount, ground and pound, and DC kind of like let the bell save him a little bit.
Okay.
And then he came back, and in 3, got his eye poked, and then after that, it was just like Stipe.
Okay.
And DC was still in it. He was in the clinch. He'd always come out. He'd land that right hand that knocked Stipe out in the first match. Stipe had some new game plans for everything that DC was trying to do. He'd hold down his right hand coming out of the clinch, try to negate that. DC still landed it a bunch, but Stipe had more control of it.
Yeah.
And he still landed to the body. And he looked really good. I felt bad that DC got poked in the eye because it just like kind of it taints Stipe's win and it puts like some doubt into the DC loss. But I think all in all, I'm pretty confident that Stipe is the best heavyweight in the world.
Really?
Yeah, dude, he beat Francis. It'll be interesting to see if they do a Francis rematch because Francis I think is a way better fighter now than he was when he first fought Stipe. Is really probably premature a little bit into it, but I think he needed that loss to do what he's doing now.
Yeah.
But in my mind, it was the eye poke sucked, but all in all, Stipe got poked in the eye. I think it was pretty fair, and Stipe dominated him. And Stipe found a way to win in the second fight. And in the first fight, he was coming off the Francis win, where he took a lot of punches from Francis and didn't get knocked out. And it was fairly soon after that he fought DC for the first time, and DC coming out of that clinch knocked him clean. It's kind of like I have more doubt on DC's win in that first one.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to take anything away from DC because he did it. He knocked him out clean.
Yeah.
But I have more like doubt in that win than I do in Stipe's win in the third.
Mm-hmm.
And the second win was super clean. The fight, all in all, the fight was really good.
Yeah.
So I give the trilogy to really cleanly to Stipe, and you got to give it to him that he's probably the best heavyweight in the world.
Yeah.
Until Francis knocks him out.
Yeah.
Or John Jones was tweeting up a storm last night, but I think you got to give it to Francis first, and then Jones fights the winners. And if Stipe wins, Stipe, the baddest man at 205 that's beat DC, the baddest man at heavyweight that's beat DC twice.
Yeah.
He's beat Francis twice if he wins against Francis. That's going to be a hell of a fight. And then if Stipe beats John Jones,
he's the best.
GOAT. If Jones beats Stipe, GOAT.
Yeah. Cormier's done.
I think so. I hope he stays retired. He wants to stay retired.
Yeah.
I hope the loss doesn't change that. He's got so much other stuff going for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 4 kids. I think it's 3 kids. His wife's pregnant with the 4th.
Yeah.
Go, dude. You're 41. Go.
Yeah.
Go live your life.
Well, and be a commentator.
All you've ever done is competed. Go live your life
and
make bank commentating and coaching your high school wrestling.
Well, and
that's the dream.
And his commentating with Joe is the best. The two best commentators with Anik, those 3 together, the most fun fights to listen to. It's like listening to a fight companion.
Yeah.
And fight companions have really turned into a hang, and they kind of talk about the fight.
Yeah. It's a fight companion for the fight.
Yeah. And it's like the only person that's really on there when they're actually talking about the fights is when what's his name? He came on with Joey last time. What's his name? Producer. You know who I'm talking
Lee?
about. No. Who is that? Skinnier guy. Why can't I think of his name?
Producer.
I think he's a producer.
Like a podcast producer or like a...
Yeah. I think he's helped a couple of people produce podcasts.
Red Band? No.
No. Who am I thinking of? He's helped the guy who now owns the Comedy Store in LA. His mom used to run it. Mitzi.
Yeah. Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore. He helps Pauly Shore on his podcast. He's on Pauly Shore's podcast.
Dude, we've watched that podcast.
Yeah. Who is it? Who is on Pauly Shore's podcast?
Bobby Lee?
No. Not Bobby Lee.
He was a guest on?
No, he's on. He's
Because we watched the one where he was Tony Hinchcliffe was a
Tony
guest.
Hinchcliffe.
So
That's what I'm thinking.
He was a
of.
guest on Pauly
Okay,
Shore's.
that's who I'm
That's
thinking.
the
of.
episode I showed you.
It's Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah, and he runs Kill Tony.
He's
at
a producer.
The Comedy Store. No,
Okay.
no, he's a comedian.
Okay.
That's what was confusing.
That's who it
He's
is.
a comedian.
Okay.
He's a hilarious comedian. He runs Kill Tony at the Comedy
Okay.
Store. Red Band is the producer of Kill Tony. Kill Tony, it's his show.
Okay.
He's the host.
Yep.
It's his podcast. And then he runs that out of the Comedy Store.
That's who it
yeah.
is.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I showed you him on Pauly Shore.
Yes.
Yeah.
But those fight companions.
Pauly Shore's producers are the weirdos in the closet.
Oh yeah. yeah.
Like the old guy in the half.
Well, it looks like he's the producer because he's literally he's not even looking at Pauly Shore. He's looking at a computer
Yeah.
on that podcast that we watched.
Yeah.
He's sitting there looking at a
Because
computer.
Pauly Shore has him held hostage.
That's it. Yes, that's it.
That was one of the I'm sure it wasn't accidentally, but like for me, it was like accidentally funniest podcast because Tony
Yeah.
was just like, "This is kind of my boss,
Yeah.
and you're kind of holding me hostage." And like, he's like, "Here, hold my mom's pillow." She
Yeah.
held this while she died.
Those are the best fight companions because he's actually into the fights.
Yeah, that was the last one. Was him and Joey Diaz.
Yeah. Well, and when they're
Brendan just eggs on Eddie Bravo.
so when they're into the fight, yeah. When Brian's trying to get into the fights, and Brendan's like, "Shut up, dude." He's like, "Just shut up, stop talking." That's when they can't get into the fights because Brian's sitting there trying to watch them, and they're all just kind of bullshitting.
Oh yeah, these guys are fighters. These guys are tough.
Yeah.
Are you guys watching this?
Yeah, I love when he says, "Are you guys watching it?" Yeah, dude, we're all sitting here watching it.
I love when Joe goes, "No, shut up. Watch this fight.
Yeah.
We're missing a great fight."
Yeah.
I've honestly I don't even really watch those while I'm watching the fights. I just turn those on while I'm like working out or something because
Yeah.
they're so conversational.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's like a hangout. I've really started. I don't know if I'd listen to his podcast, but I've really started to like when Joey is on Joe's podcast.
Joey's podcast, I don't listen to all of them, but they are really good. They're literally just a hang. They get fucked up and talk and chill.
That was
listen to
impressive, by the
music.
way, what you just did there.
Right? It's a feat.
But I like Joe. You cannot beat a better storyteller than. No one's a better storyteller than Joey. Joey has the most stories.
Yeah.
And they're the best.
Yep. And he's hilarious.
Yeah. Because you can tell he had he had an interesting growing up. He went to jail a bunch.
Yeah.
He was a criminal. He openly admits he was a criminal. He was a drug addict.
Yep. He went to jail for kidnapping or armed robbery or something.
Yeah.
He's still the best is when he goes, "Yeah, I was talking to the guy that I kidnapped the other day." He's just like, "Yeah, call up the guy I kidnapped." It's like, when I almost wonder if he does it on purpose when there's like someone new in the room that doesn't know the story because Joe and like Brendan and people have like heard it so many times. You're like, "Oh yeah, like that guy." Like, okay, yeah. But there was, I think on that podcast, someone goes, "Wait, are we just gonna like roll past this whole kidnapping thing?" Like,
It's so funny.
wait, you kidnapped a guy?
He's like, I'm sitting in a room with the person who kidnapped somebody.
Dude,
Yeah.
Oaf, our buddy Oaf, mixed between Joey
Yeah.
Diaz and Big J Okerson.
Yep. I would agree with that.
Are they
Oh.
both big? Yeah.
Is that
why?
why?
No.
Partially. Could be.
Partially, but comedy-wise, same people.
Yeah.
More Big J, I think, than Joey, but a little bit of Joey.
Yeah. A little bit of Joey.
The sentimental side of Joey
Yeah.
and the comedy side of Big J.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens when Joe goes to Texas. With that whole scene.
Yeah, I think a lot of them will follow. Joey's going to New Jersey. I think Schaub's going to go to Texas. I wouldn't be surprised if Tony goes to Texas.
Can Brian afford to go to Texas?
Not with his kids, dude. Because
Yeah.
if his wife and kids pick up and move. So I want to talk to you about this. I'm glad you brought that up. So I don't know. You probably don't know about this. Have you heard of Fighter in the Rinks?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'm glad because I knew you wouldn't have. because you're not on social media.
No.
So we all know about.
It's really convenient that I'm not on social media when this podcast is going to be built off social media. So it helps, yeah.
And I'm not really on social media either, so that's why we had to hire an intern already.
All right, so tell me, the fighter in the ranks. All right.
So, old Bri,
Mm-hmm.
sexual assault allegations,
Mm-hmm.
rape allegations.
Yep.
No bueno. Categorically denying all of them.
Yep.
Still denying all of them.
Uh-huh.
Come out denying all of them. Before Fighter in the Rinks happened was a thing, I was kind of looking into Fighter in the Kid. I was like, what's going on? Like, because you think like they always talk about being on their own, being self-sufficient, like independent. No one can shut them down or whatever. Well, they're part of this like this group called Cast Media.
Yeah.
And Cast Media doesn't own any like intellectual property of Fighter and the Kid or anything, but they are essentially, from what I've gathered, they're responsible for they're essentially the umbrella for the ad revenue for a ton of podcasts. So Fighter and the Kid, Sword and Scale, My Favorite Murder, like
So they negotiate
hundreds of different things. So they negotiate with these companies, get advertisers, and then spit them out to their different podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when old Bri got accused of that, at first he kind of came out and said, "I'm not changing anything. I'm not staying quiet and doing this." And then he kind of was like, "Oh, well, obviously I'm taking a step back from Fighter and the Kid for a little bit."
Yeah.
Well, Cast Media came out after Brian had his statement.
Yeah.
And they go, "We don't condone any of the." They came out like against it.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of have to as a company, regardless of the due process, because their ad revenue depends. It's not just Fighting the Kid; it's hundreds of other podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they were like, "Hey, Brian, you got to sit out. Can't have you on there. Otherwise, all this ad revenue is out." So Brian last week posted a video on Instagram and Twitter saying, "Hey, subscribe to Patreon. I have a new show coming out," and he like sent the link. Fighter in the Rinks on Patreon behind a paywall, $5 a month. I subscribed just to see what was up. Well, so it's the same exact show. It's Brendan and Brian, Chin and Kat. They're all at same studio. They taped over Rinks over the Kid. I think legally he can't be on Fighter and the Kid for ad revenue purposes wise. So they're like, I think Brendan he didn't really know about Patreon. Schultz is on Patreon.
Yep.
He's making a killing on Patreon.
Yeah.
Tim Dillon's on Patreon. A bunch of these comedians that were kind of later to the podcast game went Patreon route and are making bank. I think Schaub's kind of testing the waters with Patreon, using the Cast Media like armhold of, hey, Brian can't be on Fighter and the Kid. We won't get ad revenue if he is. They're testing out Patreon. I did the math like a day or two after. They're already making like $15,000 a month on Patreon, and that was like a week ago at this point.
Yeah.
You think about after they release a few episodes, I think they're going to prove it out. I think they're going to leave Cast Media, and Fighter and the Kid's going to be on Patreon only. They're going to be exclusive to Patreon. They're going to have clips on YouTube and stuff, and they're going to completely convert to that business model. And YouTube is more and more just being used as a platform to upload and shift to these like priority programs,
Mm-hmm.
like Spotify,
Mm-hmm.
like Patreon. And like this isn't anything on YouTube because it's all like the ad partnership, but like more and more creators are going the route of, hey, we don't want to have any risk at being canceled for whatever reason, especially if it's like for, hey, people are saying this stuff that isn't true and you're not paying us now because anyone can just say whatever. And I don't know if that's what's going on with them.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
But, everyone wants to, more and more content creators are going to a model where it's like the people that subscribe and want our content are paying for our content, and that's enough to keep us going and produce more and more and more and more content and grow. And it's proved out. Schultz is making $1 million a year off Patreon alone.
Yeah. I think that's what Sword and Scale had to do, because they disappeared for a good amount of time because there were other true crime podcasts that were trying to shut Sword and Scale down, and he went that route too.
Yeah.
I think.
Because you think about it, like I take the allegations out of it. I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
From a business perspective, it's a very interesting lay of the land of like watching people go through this and test run stuff, and like you can just see like with Fighter and the Kid, it's like it's all kind of mapped out. It's like it's interesting to see like it's pretty like I'm not a genius. Like it's pretty obvious they're testing the waters for Patreon and seeing what it's gonna do, and if they can make that feasible for them.
Yeah.
And if they can, then why be dependent on ad revenue? Especially if Schaub is like, hey, I'm standing by Brian no matter what. If he says he didn't do this, he didn't do it.
Yeah.
So fuck these advertisers and fuck this umbrella company. We're gonna keep the train rolling and keep going. I don't know if that's I mean, like I said, I don't want to get into like the legal side of it or the allegation side of it, but from a business side, it's interesting to watch the shifting dynamics, and it's shifting very quickly. And all like it used to be, podcast ad revenue used to be the big deal, and then these like kind of second tier up and comers like New York guys, Andrew Schultz, Legion of Skanks, they're all kind of creating Patreon, their own networks. They all want the fan, and it's because they're a little bit more over the top. They're a little bit more risky, and it's not like they're bad or dirty comics. It's just they're talking about stuff that not a lot of people talk about, and that puts them at risk for someone being offended and being canceled. And they're like, oh, well, we want to avoid that, and if you want to listen to us, just pay us. And if you don't like what you say, don't pay us anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's what Andrew Schultz always alludes to, like what he alluded when he was alluding to some of that when he was talking to Joe.
Yeah,
it's what he's alluding to is he's changing the game in terms of how people get paid, and that's probably what he's talking about. Is he's doing it independently. And it's a harder road to sled initially, and I think that's probably why Brian and Brendan didn't do it initially. They're like, well, we got to join up with a conglomerate to get the ad revenue to get this off the ground, because we came from Fox.
They went from Fox. They took a step back, and that was like their step back was a huge independent move for them, and now they're taking another step back. Whereas Schultz kind of started, no one wanted him, no one wanted to give him a platform, so I'll create my own platform.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what he's talking about. Is like he's changing the game in terms of negotiating. He's doing all his own negotiating.
He is going to be Rogan's replacement.
Yeah, I think so too.
And not in like a direct lineage sense where he's going to have a podcast that's kind of like Rogan's.
It's not going to be interview style, long form.
But he's going to take over comedy, and he's going to be the godfather of comedy someday. And I wouldn't even say Rogan's less the godfather of comedy, more so the godfather of comedy podcasts. And
I think
podcasts made his comedy on the map more. Before, I knew him as a podcaster before I knew him as a comic. I knew him as Fear Factor before I knew him as a podcaster. And when I was a podcaster, I was like, oh, this guy's kind of interesting. Oh, he's a comic? Oh, he's got all these comic friends? His podcast got me into stand-up comedy. I didn't even know he's a fucking comic.
Yeah. And he identifies as a comedian, which that wasn't what his podcast... Well,
he identifies as a gorilla.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, you're 100% right. His podcast was built off of being a long-form interview-style podcast.
Do you listen to Schultz's podcast ever? Flagrant 2?
I listen to more of the clips that they have on, like the 15-minute clips of talking about specific things. I listen to those more.
I've been finding myself doing that more with Rogan too, where it's like he's coming out with episodes so routinely where it's like, I don't know if I can commit to like a 3-hour episode with that person. Let me listen to a clip and see if I want to listen to it.
I like certain people where he has long form. I like the more intellectual ones where he has long form stuff. More of the funny kind of comedians or whoever he has on that's not that type. I'll listen to clips of those.
You got to think his podcasts are more viewable and listenable in full by like a Spotify or podcast app type deal on your phone.
Yep.
His YouTube videos all have close to 1 million views, if not over, but more listens probably. And so you think about his Spotify deal, all the listens, you just change Spotify. If you used Apple, it probably sucks, but you're going to download Spotify. You probably already have it.
Yeah.
For the biggest podcast in the world, if that's your go-to, you're going to download it.
Yep.
But I think like where that Spotify deal works really well for him is he gets to keep the YouTube clips and those all have millions of views. Like you people can watch essentially the entire episode broken out in clips and just miss the like ins and outs of the conversation, which I like. If you're like I miss those ins and outs if it's someone that I want to hear like the full conversation with. But sometimes a 10-minute clip is all you need.
Yeah.
And he's gonna keep making millions of dollars on YouTube from the clips, especially because they can edit the shit out of those and get all the copyright stuff out of them.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be making millions off YouTube, millions off Spotify, millions off comedy when that all opens up, millions off the UFC. Fear Factor 3 is coming back. He's making millions off that.
That's kind of how we're gonna make our millions.
Yeah, Fear Factor 4.
Yeah.
Fuck Factor.
The Fuck Factor.
Dude, we have a new show called The Fuck Factor, and we put you in situations where things are just cumbersome.
There's just no way that
Hey.
you're gonna get out of it clean.
Our tagline, you're going to be frustrated.
Yeah. There's no way you're getting out of it clean.
Yeah.
Something's gonna get fucked up.
Yeah. Things are getting dirty.
Yeah.
You're going to be frustrated. Hey, Fuck Factor.
Yeah. The podcast game is it's interesting the business behind it. Like, you know, when Schultz talks about, well, when a lot of them, the interesting thing too is when they talk about their managers and they're like, yeah, I mean, they don't do anything. They're like, they negotiate deals on our behalf. And he goes, why don't I just, like Schultz, why don't I just cut them out?
Yeah.
I'll just negotiate them directly. I don't have to pay anybody a percentage. So I'm getting their percentage plus the percentage I was already going to get.
When you, like, a lot of them are partnered with, like, that Live Nation company.
Yeah.
They do all the planning.
Yeah.
They take care of it.
Yeah. So why do you need somebody else? It's just a lot more work.
Yeah.
But if you don't care about doing the work, then
we got our way back to the UFC last night. Sugar Sean, he fired his manager.
mm-hmm.
Sean O'Malley manages Sugar Sean.
Yeah. Which is,
And he broke the fuck out of his foot last night. I feel so.
I wonder if that's
I was
what
so
it is.
nervous for it. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think, in my opinion, I think he was on track to win that fight or have it be a very good fight until he hurt his foot. And it sucked. It was hard to see because he just couldn't do anything after that.
I want to look up what that break
brutal.
is. That break in his foot. Because I'm pretty sure. Let's see.
Are any of these cold?
No.
I'm going to go grab a beer quick.
You want to grab some ice?
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll look up this Liz Frank foot. I'm pretty sure that's a foot injury. But let's see. Liz Frank. All right. Sean O'Malley, 2 years exile. Finally. Yeah, he suffered a Liz Frank fracture in his foot. Okay, so that's probably the same fracture. And let's see the recovery time for a Liz Frank fracture. Recovery from Liz Frank injury. All right, Pierce. So I'm doing some sleuthing. So he did his first that 2 year, like his 2 year hiatus, kind of Sugar Sean's hiatus from the UFC. Yeah. It was a Liz Frank injury. It's caused on the top. So it's caused like on the top of your foot. So the top part of your foot, that's where the injury is caused. So that's where all the
super
joints.
strong bones.
Yeah, that's where
Like the ones that like are super guarded by all the muscle and stuff that
Rest
don't
ice
poke
elevate.
through your skin constantly.
Yeah, it's
Look at this,
very
dude, they're just right there. It's like your hand.
yeah, it's very common to re-injure it because
Your foot is so much like your hand. It's kind of scary. Your foot is pretty much like a hand.
dude, listen, this'll no, it's not because you don't have opposable thumbs on your feet. You fucking idiot.
Hey, not everyone has opposable thumbs on their hands, dude.
Joints.
Have some respect.
All right, this will blow your mind. There are, because when I used to get my feet worked on all the time.
Yeah, you did, Playboy. Bet you did.
Let's see, how many joints are in your foot?
72.
This is insane.
72.
No, there's 36 joints just in your foot, and there's 26 bones.
Hey,
So not even close to your hand. Not
Hey.
even close to what your hand has.
how close was I though? If you would have said how many joints are in your feet, I would have been spot
Yeah,
on.
you were right. Yeah, spot on. How many joints in hand? So there's, okay. Oh, that's pretty close. Pretty close. There's 27 joints in your hand.
Well, you think about it, dude. your hands are pretty similar to your feet.
Yeah, except for the opposable thumb deal.
Yeah, but this number of joints, you got one less joint in your thumb, in your thumb toe.
Yeah.
In your thumb toe.
More. You have more joints in your foot than you do in your toes. But there's still a lot.
But I think you... Oh, no, you probably have the same joints in your thumb toe than you do as you do your...
Think about
your
when
hand
you
toe.
break your
hand toe, dude.
Breaking
How's your hand toe?
that hand toe that you got. That big hand toe.
Hey, how's your COVID toe, dude?
Have you ever looked at people's feet? Like my toes,
All the time.
they curl around each other.
Yeah. Well, no, that's from wearing shoes.
Other people have finger toes where they literally look like fingers.
Yeah. Everyone's feet are pretty much fucked up from shoes. Like, you can see your pinky toe curve.
Yep. Mine's like curved under my feet.
I've always thought about it. Like, if you had kids and you never put shoes on them till they were, like, 13.
Strongest feet in the world. They'd be the fastest people
Well, no.
ever.
Would they have a hard time wearing shoes?
No. They would just have way stronger feet. Like super
but you
strong
know,
feet.
would their pinkies curl in?
No. They'd be more like hands. They'd be flat. Everything would be flat.
But like, you know how your pinky toe curls in? That's from your shoe. So if you don't have that, if you never wear shoes until you're like fully developed, and then you have to start wearing shoes, your pinky toe is going to be rubbing up against that shoe.
Yeah. Or unless you get wider shoes.
Yeah. You'd have to get like special shoes. You have to wear those toe shoes.
Yeah. That's why people can't run in the people who have worn shoes their whole life and then try to run in those.
Yeah.
They have so many foot problems because your muscles don't develop in your feet because you're wearing shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm breaking up the ice because you didn't do it.
I'm afraid to. Last time I did that on the kitchen floor, the bag busted open on me, and I lost a bag of ice all over the floor.
You didn't just use it?
I mean, I used the stuff that didn't have black dog hair all over it.
How big is your brother-in-law's dog, though? Holy
Huge.
shit. I saw him.
Huge.
I saw wife's post the other day she took a video of him laying down, licking best thing to watch besides a dog eating peanut butter, bobbing for ice cubes in a bucket of water.
Dude, he goes eyes deep in the bowl water, grabs ice, and just lets all the water just drip out of him.
It's the most entertaining thing to watch. They just bob for him.
Hey, watching that dog bob for ice cubes is the equivalent of watching Cardi B's new music video, WAP.
Wasn't the worst music video I've ever seen.
Haven't watched it yet. I've been saving it for a special moment.
You and the wife should watch it together. You guys will enjoy it.
Okay.
Okay.
That song came up at the wedding last weekend that we were at.
That song?
No, it wasn't played at the wedding.
Oh,
but we were talking about it.
I was like, oh, jeez.
No, we were talking about it at the table.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. Cardi B might be the centerpiece of the whole wedding playlist.
Yeah.
For our wedding. Might be the center playlist.
Your wedding's going to rip, dude.
That's what everyone keeps saying. I'm so pumped.
It was weird being at a wedding in COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You could sense it. Like, it didn't feel... It, so what felt weird about the night a little bit was being there without... Like, just going out in general. And I was by myself. So, like, having to get myself out the door without the wife, hard. I had to be there at... I wanted to leave at 4:15. It was 3:15, and I go, oh, I need to shower, and my hair needs to dry, and I haven't done my hair in 6 months, and I haven't picked out my suit. I don't even know if I have like an iron shirt or not. And so I poured a drink.
A little scramble.
Yeah, 3:15. Poured a drink and then started getting ready. I got out the door. I was there. I was fine.
Barely
though. It was rough. But getting there, me and the other guy, it was me and one other guy, and then everyone else. We were
coupled up.
None of us were single, but none of us had plus ones.
Yeah.
So it was just like all work people at this one table, and then me and Mr. G.
Yep.
G.
Yep.
And we were just the whole time. It's like no one's wearing a mask, and neither one of us were like going to that night of like, oh my God, we're worried about going to this. What are people going to be wearing masks? Are people not? And neither one of us cared. It was just kind of baffling in the world that we're in. 100 people probably in a room. No one cared. There was a couple people maybe wearing masks at a couple points of the night, but for the most part, it was really nice to feel like a normal night, but because it felt like a normal night, it felt kind of weird. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it at all. It was really nice to have a normal night, but it was kind of eerie too, in a way, where it's like, it felt like we were getting away with something. It felt like a bootleg party kind of, where it's like, and that in a way that made it more fun, where it's like,
Oh, we shouldn't be doing this.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you could tell that it weighed on them as a couple planning for it, because they're a little different than your situation, where they had been planning since like early last year, and you could tell it was just kind of like a little bit of a relief for it to all be done, and it was a lot of stress. Like the best man couldn't be there because he was in the NHL and like was stuck in the bubble.
Yep.
And they had to cut the guest list by quite a bit. And it was, if you didn't know any of that, even with the best man was on, he sent in a video, one of the best man speeches I've ever heard. It was so good. So take that out of it, because they nailed the speech. Outside looking in, perfect, beautiful wedding.
Yep.
But there's a few comments throughout the night where it's just like, oh, you know that this was like a tough event for them. There's a lot that went into this, and it wasn't exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
It was beautiful, it was perfect. I thought it was perfect, but they're probably thinking about it like, that was awesome. It wasn't exactly what we wanted, and not like exactly like, oh, we wanted this little fountain or this dessert or something. It's like, it's just like, not everyone that we wanted to celebrate with could be there.
Yeah.
I'm sure that sucks.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I
you're going
talked
through that too.
Kind of. I mean, the thing is we have another friend that they changed the city of where they're doing their wedding, because that city of the wedding that you were in is way more strict.
Oh yeah.
So the occupancy levels are way more strict in that area, whereas like ours, way less strict. So like there's a benefit to doing that. It's a little bit less convenient. We've gone through some of that, but I said that to like what you're saying is, if this isn't everything that you wanted, let's make a couple changes.
Yeah.
But if you're still going to feel like it's going to be the same experience regardless, then let's just do it, and then we'll ride out the wave. Whatever it is, we'll just ride out the wave.
And I hope, especially like for her, but just, they're such like an awesome couple.
Yeah.
I hope it was mostly what they wanted, because in my eyes it was. You just never know. Like, if you have to cut out like a lot of people, like,
and that's
she
tough.
has a huge family, so I think she had to cut out like a lot of family. I'm sure he had to cut out people.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
But it is just, it's one of those things where it's like, it's hard to like, when you're in that moment, it's hard to like realize, like, because it is such an important day. At the end of the day, it is one day of the rest of your lives.
Yep.
And it's a celebration, and
Yep.
it should be nothing other than a celebration and a moment for you guys. And it's, all that matters is what you guys want.
And that's kind of what we said too, is like, we don't want to feel uncomfortable, and in no disrespect to other people, if you don't feel comfortable, please don't go, because we don't want to feel uncomfortable with you being there and you're uncomfortable.
And that's, I think, what I was trying to get at with this wedding. No one felt uncomfortable.
Yeah. And then you don't make the bride and groom feel uncomfortable,
uh-huh.
because everyone's there chilling and nobody's there wearing a mask and feeling uncomfortable and kind of trying to keep their distance. It's like, no, we all knew that we were coming into an environment that's at a higher risk of people getting it, but we're still going to go anyway.
Yeah.
And you're getting, the nice thing is in like the venue that we have less restrictions. So we're probably not going to have to make the decisions that they had to make.
Yeah.
But realistically, we just won't.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And we also we kind of already planned for the 50% without even knowing that we were only going to be at 50%. We kind of had planned that's the size of our wedding was going to be anyway. It'd actually probably be a little smaller than what we thought.
Yeah.
That's okay. It is what it is.
When size really doesn't matter.
No.
All that matters
It's about
is
the people.
The people that are there for you are there, because those are the ones that are going to make it a night to remember.
And
too.
we know
it's going to be a night to remember
Yeah.
regardless. But just for like the vibe of the party,
Yeah.
the whole vibe is going to be set by the people that really care about being there for you.
Well, and we know the 24 people that are going to be sitting at the head table and family, they're all going to be there. So everybody else is icing on the cake, right? I mean, that's kind of how you have to look at it now versus, oh, you thought certain people were going to go and now they're not because they had something else going on. when you guys had your wedding, it's, oh, they just had something else going on or they decided not to come. Now it's they've decided not to go and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a different dynamic. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see like what you're saying. It's like, yeah, you're kind of doing something against the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, which will be fun. I think that's kind of a fun part of it too.
Yeah, it's badass.
Yeah.
Well, it's like wife and I have talked about this. It's just like, if you want to get married, get married. Like, and if it's a party, it's a party. If it's if you were supposed to get married this year, you want to get married this year, and your venue has limitations or cancellations, whatever. If you want to be married, get married.
A buddy of mine did that.
Get married.
So they did a small wedding, and he said, we're doing our reception at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And he goes, we're just gonna have a big party at the end of the year. He goes, sorry that it happened this way. And it's like, no, it's okay. I mean, most of the time, like
they'll probably do some little ceremony type deal at the reception too, and like to kind of redo it. But yeah, it's just, if you want to get married, go and get married.
Well, my buddy in Chicago, I told you this. He had, I think, maybe 150 people at the actual ceremony. Then he invited an extra 150 for the reception. So he's like, you only had the people that really cared and that you really wanted to see. You really wanted to see that, your vows and things like that. You had those people there. It's the same thing now. You had the people there that could be there and that you had the capability to have there. And then everybody at the reception is just icing on the cake now. It's just a little bit different.
I'd go the exact opposite route. I'd go, hey, ceremony's pretty cheap. Let's fill this place. You guys can all come see me. Come one, come all. But when it comes to me paying for your dinner and you drinking my booze and partying, get the fuck out, dude. This is just for people that I want. Let's cut it down after the ceremony.
Dude, your parents were like one of the first few people that RSVP'd, and then you told me they already got their hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to book my room.
Yeah. You still have to book room.
Hey, does it surprise you? My birthday's in November. It's August. My mom texted me 2 weeks ago asking what I wanted to do for my birthday. She goes, hey, I have a busy November. What do you want to do for your birthday? I go, it's August 2nd. We're not talking about this. Conversation over. It's just like, whoa, I just have a busy November. No. Hey, you know when my birthday is.
I'll tell you in October. How
Yeah.
about that?
Hey, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
If you're busy on the birthday, not hanging out with you on my birthday anyways.
Yeah.
You're free? You busy 30 days in November? No.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out, dude.
Yeah, that's funny.
It pissed me off so much.
Yeah.
Oh.
Birthdays, I don't know. Birthdays are fun. I think it's more fun as you get older. I was thinking about this yesterday. Like, I don't do anything during the day. I think it's more fun to do things. It's more fun to do things with a smaller group than it was like, inviting people over for a big party. It's like, I don't know. It's not really worth it.
Yeah. I'd agree. I've never been a big birthday guy. Like, I don't give two shits about my birthday.
Yeah.
Every year I end up celebrating in some capacity, but it's usually like, hey, I'm going here. If you guys want to grab a drink or whatever, grab a drink. Like, last few years it's been like, hey, me and the wife are going to local after work. Let's grab a drink, and if you want to come or whatever.
Right.
This year, I don't fucking care, dude. I'm turning 30. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What are we like? What? Let's go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
know. There's
I'm
not
just,
much
like,
different to
I
do.
fucking hate it. Like, my parents my family and parents like want to celebrate with me. My in-laws want to celebrate with me. My wife wants to celebrate with me. Like, you're supposed to celebrate with your friends. It's just like, I hate being the center of attention.
Yeah.
I don't hate my birthday. Like, I hate turning another year.
Yeah.
I hate it because I hate being the center of attention. I don't give two shits about turning another year older.
Yeah.
Life rips, whether Chris D'Elia is in jail or not, man. And it's going to keep on ripping because it's just a motto, and it's not tied to any one person, right?
Yeah.
And it's another year. Like, you should honor it in whatever way you want to honor it because it's your life and your year.
Yeah.
And I don't really care. I want to have some drinks and just any other weekend.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing.
Like, today was awesome. Like, I just have an excuse to be like, yeah, let's just go hang out, have some cigars, spend a day,
Yeah.
whatever. Go for a night. Like, you guys went out for a really nice dinner last night. Like,
Yeah.
it's just nice to have an excuse to go celebrate you, celebrate another year in the books, another year to come.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get, like, the celebrating a birthday.
Yeah.
But I've just never been where it's like, I need 50 people to come celebrate with me, or even, like, 10 or 15. It's just like, no, just...
I'm the same way.
It is what it is.
I'm the same way.
Let's hang out.
Like I told Lady, I was like, I think our wedding for me is going to be very uncomfortable in terms of like, yeah, there's a lot of people that stand up and like say nice things, and I like you. Everybody likes hearing that stuff, but it's also at the same time, it's a little bit hard when you're sitting there and you're like, I don't take compliments well at all, so it's going to be hard sitting there and like, it's not about us. It's about having fun.
The nice thing about a wedding though is it is about both of you.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's like not about.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about one person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just about like one or the other. It's like they're complimenting you and
Yeah.
your relationship.
Yeah.
And you as a couple.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is a little bit interesting.
Oh,
It's a little
hate
bit
it.
weird.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand up and go, Daddy Dirt, what a guy. I'm just gonna give you compliment after compliment.
It's so weird.
Huge, like biceps. Small calves, but huge biceps, like, and like it's just, I mean, it would be a nice smile if you didn't have a chipped tooth. But
Dude,
like,
quit talking about the speech you're gonna say. Okay, I don't want to hear it. I want to hear it that day. I don't want to hear it now.
you don't want me to warm up for you?
No, I'm good.
I did just give away some gems, so
That's all right.
I've been thinking about it a lot.
Good.
Could go a lot of different routes.
I might just pull the plug on both of you and just say, sorry, you guys don't get to talk.
I might just Google best man speeches.
You go, I had something prepared, but I'm just going to go something I found on Google.
Hey, yeah, I wrote something down, but let me just Google this quick. That's going to be my opening line. Hey, I didn't know I was going to do this. Let me just pull up Google real quick. Give me 1 second.
You can pull up your phone. You're standing there for like 5 minutes. Like, I found a Google speech, but I can't find it now.
Go, Webster's dictionary defines marriage as.
All right, cheers.
I'm gonna start off with like John F. Kennedy quote or something like. And in conclusion, this has been my 5-paragraph essay read out loud on why I think Daddy Dirt and Lady are fit to be wed. And here's my mushroom stamp of approval.
People be like, wait, mushroom stamp? What is that?
Who's signing your who's like your witness on your marriage license? I'm guessing like brother or mom or dad or something, or
I don't know.
whoever does it. You got to notarize that shit with a mushroom stamp.
I don't know, dude. I'm so naive to that stuff.
Don't know where our wedding license is or marriage license or whatever.
Marriage license. I don't know. I don't even know anything about that. We have to go to probably have to go to that county's facility and get it. I don't even know what you do.
Well, so typically you have like your whoever's like facilitating the wedding or officiating the wedding, like manage that and has you sign it, and then you have to go like submit it. But you don't have to you just don't have to go to the courthouse and like do anything as a couple.
Okay.
Lady can take care of
so
all
weird,
that for
dude.
you.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah, welcome to marriage, dude.
Yeah. Got the rings ordered.
That's all you need. Just, hey, buy your ticket. Along for the ride. That's gonna be my speech. I go, thanks for coming, everyone. How about that drive in? You guys are all enjoying dinner, so I guess Reese bought his ticket. It's just time for Daddy Dirt to enjoy the ride.
I can't wait to go to the swim up bar on Friday.
Oh, it's gonna be. I'm gonna be having fat Wisconsin cheese curd women do body shots.
It's
off
not
me
in
at
Wisconsin,
the swim up bar.
dude. It's not in Wisconsin. How many times do I gotta tell you that? It's not in Wisconsin.
Is it on the border?
No.
How close to Wisconsin is it?
It's close, but not that
How
close. I don't know.
Do people from Wisconsin go there?
Maybe 20 minutes.
Or they're gonna be cheese curd fed mommies at the swim up bar
I don't know.
that are
Maybe
going to be doing body shots off of Mommy Mike the night before your wedding.
I don't know. You have to still get your room reservation. So I don't know. Maybe you won't find out.
They're going to be sipping tequila on my belly button and chasing it with a cheese curd out of my mouth, dude.
You're probably not going to get your room in time, and then you're going to have to stay downtown, away from everybody else. Then you're going to be begging for a room.
I'm driving both ways, both nights.
Yeah.
I'm renting a golf cart.
Lady's mom told us. She goes, yeah, no, we got to, because we posted 2 hotels. She goes, yeah, no, we got one at this hotel. We go, oh, well, I mean, everyone's staying at the casino. And she goes, oh, I hope we can cancel our room reservation.
Everyone, just mommy's.
Yeah.
Just mommy's parents. The only people that booked a room yet. They don't even know if they're invited yet.
We haven't even booked our room
Hey,
yet.
how'd you figure out where the wedding was?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Well, we got our rings ordered,
That's good.
so that's a good sign. We're headed in the right direction.
Yeah. Don't lose them between now and then. Number 1 advice for you.
I don't know if we're even going to pick them up. We'll just probably pick them up the week of.
Just pick them up on your way to the venue.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably not a bad idea so we don't lose them. Nah, I'm pretty anal about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of like losing, keeping track of stuff, keeping things nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
Yeah, you keep all your things nice.
Try.
I try too.
Yeah, but
Just depends how much I use them.
you'll simple life, you know?
Yeah.
Like those headphones. Try to keep them nice, but they're destroyed.
Hey, I wear them 24/7. I sleep in them every night.
Dude, you're like an old man sleeping in your headphones next to your wife. Like an old man, like
Dude.
sitting there watching TV while she's sleeping.
I'm not like I'm literally like I just need sound to fall asleep to. So I turn on 1984 the audiobook. I turn on some soothing thunderstorm sounds in the background.
Why are you listening to 1984 when you go to bed?
Dude, I have to listen to more of it cuz I just listen to bits and pieces as I wake up throughout the night. But there's some strong correlations to a lot of shit that's been going on in the last 5 to 10 years in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. It's an interesting book to listen to because you're like,
Didn't we read it in high school?
I think like a lot of people had to. I never did. It was like depending on what class you were
Well, I
in.
didn't like he reads an aggressive word.
No, I know. I don't think it was part of our curriculum. I think Animal Farm was, and I didn't read that one either.
I know we read 1984. I
Did we?
know that it was part of the curriculum or part of one class's curriculum.
I think it's one of those ones that we like heard about.
Oh no, it was when you didn't. If you weren't in choir or band, you did read it. So
in
I was.
Masterworks? No.
Because I wasn't in choir after
Neither was I.
freshman year. I had to read it. I promise you, we had to read it.
Maybe you were in a different Masterworks class than I was.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
I never read it in high school.
I didn't do a whole lot of reading throughout college and high school. Let's just be
No.
honest.
We read Great Gatsby for sure. Tom Sawyer.
Mm-hmm.
I think Animal Farm was one, but I never read. But we talked about it. We read Romeo and Juliet. Or some of the other big books we read. Gatsby was like the biggest one.
What's
I feel
the
like.
Is Animal Farm the one with the kids on the island? What's
No,
the,
that's Lord of the Flies.
Yeah,
that was a
that's-
good one.
we
That
read
was
that one.
freshman. Yeah.
Yeah, we read that one. Well, again, read. Aggressive word for some of us.
Dude, the best part is there's a movie made from Lord of
Yeah.
the Flies, and like halfway through the movie, they're having one like their tribunal meetings as kids,
Yeah.
and someone like does something wrong, and their solve for like punishment of like, oh, you did something wrong is shove his dick in the conch. They like grab this conch shell and try to like shove his dick in the
One,
conch shell.
it's a very like controversial book for kids to read in
Yeah.
high school. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of about like, and it's a little bit about like, oh, what kids do without parents, but it's a lot
about
more just like
society.
society and like how societies form, and like it's like what Rogan says all the time. He's like, oh, if it was just like the 5 of us in this room, we'd be fine. But you hit that number where it's like one too many people and someone starts fucking off, and there's enough of those people that are fucking off and doing things that aren't vibing with the rest of the society, where it's like now there's a divide. Whereas if it's a small group of people and it's one person doing something wrong, it's like, hey, shithead, like quit doing that.
Yeah,
But
you
as
can
soon as
self-regulate.
Yeah, as soon as you get more and more people and they're doing more and more different things and it's not vibing with the rest of what the group is, That's when it's like time to split, or there's war or divide, or that's when
Yeah.
it's like, hey, we need to like have a leader to pull us all together, and it's okay to have differences, but we need to like have someone giving us marching orders or something. And
Yeah, it's really bizarre how the dynamics of some of those books are real life without even knowing.
it's almost like the literature that they tried to force us to read in high school actually has an impact on the greater world, and they did a horrible job of correlating that for
Yeah,
us.
no
They're like,
kidding.
hey, read this book.
Yeah, why are we reading it? I don't know. You told us to read it, so that's why we're reading
Well,
it.
because it's been an important part of literature forever. Well, why?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why. Just hey, close the fucking loop.
Well,
for
that's
us.
like
Hey, connect the dots.
I've
a
always
little
said to
bit.
Lady, like, the thing, if we were to ever have kids, I'm never going to give them an answer of because I'm your parent. That's like in high school when they tell you to do something, you're like, yeah, but why? Well, they don't want you to question it. They just want you to do it. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, and that's why they get a lot of like creative people or revolutionary people that like go on to be super successful have a hard time with school because they're not pushing back against school. They're just going, well, what's the point? Like, why do I need to learn this? What's the context of me learning this? And they're pushing back in that capacity. They're like, well, it's just because. It's like, well, that's not good enough for me.
Yeah.
That's good enough for a lot of people,
Yeah.
the sheep that follow, but there's people that just go, well, why?
Yeah.
And it's not, why do I have to do this? I don't want to do this. It goes, I'm happy to do this, but why? Why am I doing this? Why is this important?
Yeah.
And part of school is probably figuring that on your own, but there was never like any coaching to do that on your own.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like memorize this, regurgitate this, and move on.
I think part of learning, I think some of the best learners or people who understand the greater concept of things are the people who understand the why. Like, there's people who don't. I have a very hard time doing something if I don't understand the why behind it, how it correlates to the whole linear concept of whatever it is, a job
Yeah.
or a relationship or whatever. It's like, yeah, but why am I doing it? Am I doing that because I was told I had to do it that way? And am I memorizing and regurgitating like what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been struggling with that at work a little bit where we're trying to like build new processes for some of the stuff that we're doing. And I just don't know enough of like the overall context of
Yeah.
what was happening before, what are we trying to fix, what was like wrong with what was going on before, what was going on before. We don't even know. So we're trying to figure out like what the process is, what the process needs to be.
Yeah.
And we don't really know what the direction is that we're supposed to go. So it's like all this ambiguous like stuff, and it's like slowly I'm getting context and figuring it out, but it's like I need that context. I
Yeah.
need to know like, and I get why we're doing it, but there's like it's also the greater context of like what does this impact?
Yeah.
Why is this important?
You have to understand the end goal
Yeah.
before you can even start to create
Yeah.
a platform.
And I think a lot
start
of
to
people are
create a
probably like that in school.
process.
It's just kind of like they're probably doing a better job of it than kids perceive or I perceive going through school. But I think because I need that context, like just, hey, read this book because doesn't do it for me. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, read this book and do this worksheet because it's your homework doesn't do it for me. It's like,
Yeah.
read this book because in the world, here's what goes on, and here's how it's tied to history, and here's what happened, and here's like the context. And I think in Gatsby, they tried to do that a little bit, but they just, I don't know. It's hard. High schoolers don't want to learn. I wish I would have taken a year or two off after high school, and I think I would have like gotten,
Like now.
yeah.
We talked about this.
I wish I would have gotten like taken a year off or two, gotten a job, worked, figured out what I wanted to do a little bit, figured out what I was interested in, and go to school for stuff that I was interested in. And it doesn't, especially like if you go into business, you don't need a business degree.
No.
If you want to do something specific within business, it certainly helps.
Yeah.
But if you want to go into business, you don't need a business degree. If you want to go in sales, you don't need a business degree.
Yeah.
You need to be able to learn
Yeah.
and be able to adapt and be able to think and be able to have like thoughts for yourself and form strategies and opinions and
Well, like some of the best intellectual people don't come.
yeah.
Some of the best
critically
intellectual
think.
business people don't come from a business background.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I think. I'm kind of. I'm always kind of down on school, but the one thing that I think college especially does for you, for the most part, critically thinking, regardless what classes you take, and that's why I don't think it matters what your like degree is in.
Yeah.
Critically thinking.
Yeah.
That's all. in any job, even if you don't go into a job or you volunteer or you're a stay-at-home spouse or mom or dad or whatever, critical thinking is a crucial part of just surviving in society.
Yeah.
And you need that.
Yeah.
And not enough people in the world have that.
Yeah.
So in that capacity, I think education is really important. But like the specifics of what you learn, so much of it is based on memorizing and regurgitating that I don't think that part of it really matters.
And a lot of college is that too. It's
Yeah.
still regurgitating.
Some stuff like pop culture or like geography or like you just need to memorize it and like know where Nebraska is.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
like other stuff, it's like when the older and older you get, the more you should be like critically thinking and like, why are we learning this stuff? Okay,
Yeah.
here's a book. What's important? What's the historical context of this book? What's the relevant impact of this book?
And I think some people get lost when you see the people who were very good at doing school. They get these jobs and they can't even critically think. So then they just end up stagnating at this, whatever they're doing. They end up stagnating because they're so used to doing it from A, B, C, D, going through that.
I did this exactly how you told me to do it. Well, yeah, but that wasn't good enough. The customer wanted this.
Yeah.
And you didn't adapt.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I did it right. And I struggle with that. It's like, I followed this A to Z and I did it. And my job's done. It's like, well, no, you got to make it. You have to make it good.
Mm-hmm.
Like in school, so much of it is just like kind of checking a box. If you do it, you're gonna be okay. It's not about like, hey, maybe I did this a little bit differently, but it's better and got a better result. There's none of that. It's like I want to do this to get an A.
Well, that's like I think a good example of that is like math class. You're on a test. You showed zero work, but you get to the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I get to the answer in a different way, why is the way that I did that wrong? It's not wrong. I just did it in a different way than you wanted it to be done.
Yeah, I still got the right answer.
Yeah. So who cares how I did it? And that's what I don't think they teach enough in school is telling people it's okay if you get there a different way.
Yeah.
No, I don't have to do it your way.
Yeah. I would do that all the time on math tests. They go, well, how'd you get this answer? I go, sorry I didn't get it your way. I typed it in a fucking calculator.
Well, and they think like,
well, no, you have to show your
get,
work. I go, look at my calculator.
How did you get it? How did you get that answer? They automatically, a thought in their mind is probably, oh, you automatically cheated. How would you get that? No, I didn't cheat. I just got it a different way.
I didn't cheat. I said, hey Siri, what's the answer?
Yeah, can you imagine some of the issues schools go through now?
As before even Zoom homeschooling, all like just having every answer at your fingertips.
Yeah. Now you can do anything. You can find answers to anything.
Dude, I used to make up books and write book reports on them. I don't think you could do that today. A teacher's going to Google that book and be like, is this a real book?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
To be fair, though, I would use real book titles and real book authors and just make up what happened in the book.
Just Spark Note it.
Nope. I wouldn't even do that. I would do that for the books that were mandatory that we had to read. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, read this book. Mm-hmm. But when they're like in 8th grade, when they're like, hey, pick a book and do a book report. Made up a book.
Yeah.
In all actuality, it was probably harder than reading the book. As I was doing my book report, I made up a pretty convincing storyline and wrote a book report on it. Hey, Mommy Mike, 10 times harder than actually just reading the fucking book.
Better than plagiarizing, though.
Yeah.
Made up your own story.
Yep.
But what if they just read it and they go, hang on. Or they've read the book before and they go, hang on. This is not at all what that book is about. Not at all.
Yeah, it was risky. I also, that same class, so that book we got to pick, that same class, we had to read Call of the Wild, where like the dog, like Buck the dog is like, he's like a sled dog. It's Balto like completely knocked it off kind of.
You have an amazing retention for books. I have zero retention. I couldn't tell you what I read.
I think this is part of the reason why I remember it. We had to write a book report on it, and you know that Starbucks song where it's like, it was the Eye of the Tiger, it's like, dun, 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 dun. Greg's the man going to work. Yep. Something has ambition.
Yeah.
So, you know how good my guitar skills are. I can play a couple chords.
Yeah.
Can't sing or anything. Dude, I went in and I played the riff from Eye of the Tiger. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, hey,
Dun,
dude, I
dun,
got it.
dun.
I know what the riff is, and so does everybody
Dun,
else.
dun, dun.
Yep, move on. Go on, please.
And I wrote lyrics to that song from not even from the song, from the Starbucks commercial about the Call of the Wild. I go, don't, and all that. And I go, Bucks the dog, pull in the sled. Do,
And you probably got an A.
ambition.
Yeah, you probably got an A.
Yep. And I played that intro and then I read off the lyrics to the song. I did more singing in this rendition of it than what I did for the book report. I literally just showed up in the class. I went, dun, 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 and then I read off the lyrics, Bucks the dog, pulling the sled, and got an A.
It's just so easy. It's so easy. If you just think a little bit outside the box, and we're not telling kids to skate through school, but pretty easy. It's not hard.
It's not hard to pass.
No. It's not hard to pass
and
at all.
it's okay. There are people that have like a hard time retaining the information and like doing it. Like there's actual like learning disabilities. But if you show up, listen, do most of your homework, pay attention in class, and show up and take the test, more often than not, you're probably gonna pass.
Yeah. I think tests are ridiculous in my opinion.
Tests are stupid. And it all depends on how they're structured. I've taken tests at work, and my wife's on the training team, and it's none of her tests, but some of these tests, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what? There's, like, sometimes there's not a right answer, because they, like, do it wrong. And it's like, oh, you did this test wrong, so now I have to retake it because I picked the right answer, but you had it programmed wrong.
Yeah.
And it's the way that they have things phrased. It's like you're just trying to trick us. Like none of this stuff is hard. It's just the way it's worded is hard.
Yeah. I mean, I took tests in high school. I took most tests audibly because I didn't retain any of the information. So I get more tripped up on reading the questions than actually answering the questions.
Oh, that's so funny. I'm the exact opposite. I would fail a test if I had to do that.
Yeah. So I did most of the tests in high school audibly. So I'd have someone read the test. I get the right answer every time.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have to worry about reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's super bizarre. And that's the thing is like thinking outside the box, and they do a really good job now in school of tailoring it more to kids' learning styles, but that's half the battle. You can't just have a cookie cutter way of, oh, every kid needs to learn this way. No, they just don't.
No.
Kids just don't learn the same way.
That's why all the proceeds from the Dyslexic Dash are going to go to helping kids learn in different ways.
Yep. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
We're going to start our own Montessori school.
Yeah. Called Dr. Dyslexia. It's going to be like the X-Men, but for dyslexics. You're going to be rolling up in a wheelchair, smoking a cigar, going, welcome.
Well, it's going to be all the brightest minds.
Welcome.
It's going to be all the it's going to be all the brightest minds.
All the brightest minds on a dimmer.
We turn them up here. We turn up the dimmer.
Hey, is your mind on a dimmer switch? Oh, we turn you all the way up there. That's like what like Alpha Brain and Adderall need to like promote. So, are you on a dimmer? We turn you all the way up. Kiss me.
That's it.
Give me a birthday kiss.
It's a nice flag.
It is a nice flag. How far deep are we?
How many hours?
Yeah.
I don't know. Hour 50.
We still have cigars left. We have to fill time, dude.
All right.
We're not going anywhere till these stogies are done.
Google it.
I have a spider on me. I'm gonna be the next Spider-Man, dude. I shot a spider on me.
What is the one thing? What is
I'm
the
gonna start
thing?
shooting cum on my wrist.
What's the thing that you're scared of? Are you scared of like spiders?
I'm scared about being bit by a spider and shooting cum on my wrist.
No, like, are you scared of like people are scared of spiders, snakes, anything?
Both those things, deathly.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Anything that, like, the way that those things move, scares me. Like anything that moves quick like that. You got fast twitch muscle. I'm not with you, dude. I like snakes, tarantulas, lizards freak me out. Birds, they can just fly away at any time. Like if you're like not bird, like a bird being by me doesn't scare me, but if you were like to go try to pick up a bird, like that, like the act of picking that up freaks me out just as much as picking up a snake or a tarantula.
So like when we're pheasant hunting and you walk up to a bird, let's say you kick it up or a dog kicks it up close to you, does that freak you or like freak you out?
No, because I guess like it's like hopefully the bird's already kind of hurt and I'm like I have it and I have to like end its life to do its justice. Like I don't want it to suffer. That doesn't really freak me out. But it like if it's like kind of the act of like, oh, is it like gonna flap away and fly away? Like that kind of freaks me out. But it's more like spiders and snakes where it's like, oh, they could jump out and like bite you or something.
Snakes.
But like I'm talking about like a bird. Like if you were like walk up to like a cardinal and try to like scoop it up, it's like, oh, it could fly like right at me and poke me in the eye or something. Like it's just it can move so fast where it's like I'm gonna move in for it and it's gonna like lunge at me. That type of stuff freaks me out. And heights, like looking over an edge.
Yeah.
No. And watching videos of people like not nutting,
nutting on the edge.
People not nutting. Like nut shots. Like if like watching skateboard highlights, if they fall and like nut a rail or like fall like ollie down a staircase and fall hard, like that makes my stomach jump.
Yeah.
Where it's like. Like,
yeah,
I'm afraid of a lot.
I get that same thing with they stopped showing it to us actually my senior year they used to show us a loading video, like a spinal load video where like how to properly tackle and stuff. And so we stopped watching them, but like that stuff makes me cringe.
Yep, just thinking about it. Like I can't do it like watching like a leg break or something or like just hearing someone talk about it. Like I feel like if I saw it live action I wouldn't respond that way, but like hearing someone talk.
Yeah, because we used to watch videos of it, and they'd show us like what's proper, what's not, and then they stopped showing it to us because they were like, "You already know, you're already at a level where you should know, and if you don't, then you're just gonna get hurt. So do it the right way."
Like Tosh.0 or like what's that Rob Dyrdek show?
Ridiculous.
That like I have a hard time watching those shows because of like the falls and like the
or like when people get scorpioned.
Like, Jackass. Oh, dude, the scorpions are where their feet go over their.
They hit the back of their head.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah.
Or like if like those on like Nature's Metal, like if there's snakes in a house or something, or like all the spider, like if you poke a spider and it's like eggs pop out and they just like
nasty,
go.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Dude.
But I'm not. Spiders don't scare me. Whatever. Snakes, I hate them.
Yeah.
All of it. The way they move, everything about them.
Dude, there's something about snakes, like from the Bible, all the stories about that. People that do like psychedelics reference them a lot, where it's like these like sneaky, like kind of like they're always kind of an evil entity.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's something that like humankind is like kind of like just put on them and it's like passed down from generations from all the way from Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Or is it just like they are just like there's something off about that type of creature?
Yeah. Ugh. It just it makes my skin crawl.
Yeah.
Like even thinking about them. Ugh.
And like even
so
like
nasty.
little like garden snakes where it's like, oh, they're harmless. They are black and green and yellow and creepy. Like
yeah. So I'm glad we live here. We don't have many issues with snakes.
No, like I haven't seen a snake here in forever. I used to see them like growing up at my grandparents' house all the time, just like in the rock beds. And,
yeah. I used to see them at my parents' house, but yeah, other than that, I haven't seen one in a while.
I at my parents' house. Granted, I'm not the biggest outdoorsman.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple when I was little.
Yeah.
Maybe you gotta go look for them.
Yeah. And they got to be in the right areas.
Like, so I'll give you an example of like something that doesn't scare me, but gives me that feeling of like, oh, if I'm gonna go like approach it, kind of freaks me out. Toads. Like if I have a toad in my hand, it can pee in my hand. I don't give two shits. Once it's in my hand, don't really care. But going up to it's like, oh, it could jump, or like it's like that new texture on your skin. And it's like, oh, like what is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
That type of stuff freaks me out.
Yeah.
So
like reptiles, I think in general. Like I don't love lizards. Like I'm not gonna put a lizard in my hand.
No. Would you ever put like a lizard on your ear, like people do, where they hang? No.
Yeah, like hang them from their earlobes
Yeah.
and stuff. No, reptiles in general, I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah.
Frogs, not so much.
Dinosaurs, dude.
Crocodiles, dude.
Yeah.
Alligators.
Dude, did you listen to David Cho on Rogan?
Yes.
Where he talks about going and looking for that dinosaur
Yes.
and almost killing a man?
Yes.
Such a good podcast. But can you imagine, like, what if dinosaurs still, like, they kind of do to some extent with birds, alligators, crocodiles,
Yeah.
snakes,
Yep.
chickens, like,
Yeah.
what?
to a
But what
certain
if,
extent.
like, what if you went into like deep into the jungle and found a fucking like legit like stegosaurus?
Well, what about like going golfing and there's just
Alligators.
an alligator? Yeah. Like if you
Huge,
go to
dude.
if you go to Florida, there's that. You go on a golf course, like you'll see alligators, you'll see snake. Dude, I saw the biggest snake I've ever seen in my entire life. I had a ball into the brush and I go, nope, not going to get it. All black
Where?
snake in Florida.
Oh,
It was in the weeds and I go, nope, not going in there.
dude, in Florida too. You don't know. People in Florida are nuts. The snake problem in Florida is all artificial. Where it's like people that had pet snakes were like, "Oh fuck, this python got really big.
Yeah.
I'll just release it in the Everglades."
Yep.
They've diminished populations of like natural inhabiting animals in the
Yep.
Everglades because people have put pets in there.
Yeah.
And they
Ugh.
thrive. Dude, the snake is one deal where it's like same with crocodiles. Like people get like Nile crocodiles
Yeah.
and release them because they're like, "Oh, I can't take care of this anymore." But though, like you can't do that with a dog. You can't do like a cat. You probably could. Those survive. They're
Yeah.
crazy. But like a dog, you can't do that.
Like a house dog?
A goldfish, you can't release a goldfish into the lake, and
Yeah.
it's not going to be a carp in 20 years.
Yeah.
You release a snake or a crocodile into the wild,
They'll figure
nothing
it out.
change. No, nothing changed. They already
Yeah.
have it figured out, dude. Nothing changes. Their reptilian brain never turns off. They're not domesticated. They're pretending, dude. You release them in the wild, they're fine.
Oh,
They don't die. They get bigger.
it just makes me cringe, dude.
Those
Oh.
yellow pythons.
Yeah, dude. Have you seen some of the ones that they found that they've killed? Because now it's open season, you can kill anything you want.
Yeah.
And they found these things, and they're fucking 20 feet long. They're like their circumference 18 inches around. Oh,
I watched an Instagram video of this guy that had just like a small, tiny pet snake. Like one that you could just wear on your wrist and carry around at parties probably. Had it around his neck, just walking, talking, doing a video. Snake seized up on him.
oh.
Guy dropped his phone and got choked out. Survived. But ended the video.
Why would you watch that?
Oh, it just popped up on my feed. I wasn't like searching it.
Well, it'll probably pop up on my feed now that we're talking about it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
No, don't. Please don't. Oh, gosh. It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting.
What else scares you?
Just snakes.
Just snakes?
Oh, dude, I hate them so much.
That's interesting. I'll tell you later why it's super interesting.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah. But other than that, nothing really. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, bugs don't creep me out. Just kill them.
Yeah.
But it's like snakes. You just can't just, like, go kill them.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if so, to the point of spiders, if we have like a spider in our house,
Yeah.
those little guys, I'll go smack them with a paper towel. That doesn't scare me at all.
Yeah.
I'm not like freaked out of like
Yeah.
I don't want them like crawling over me or anything. But if it's like a little guy and I have to go smack it, even like now, I just had that spider on me. I flicked it off. No big
Yeah.
deal. Dude, those big hairy spiders scare the fucking shit out of me. I saw one of those. I think it's a wood spider. We were at on this like nature hike in like elementary school, back in this like nature preserve, and there was this log, and someone pointed out, and there was a big hairy wood spider in there. And ever since then, I'm like, oh, those things are in Minnesota. Nope, I'm done. Checked out.
Ugh.
No to spiders. That's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd freak me out. I'd just be like, I'd just kill it. It's so small, I'd just kill it.
This thing was not small. I mean, like, if it came and attacked me, I'd kill it. Like, I'd just step on it. But,
Yeah.
like, they're freaky, dude.
Yeah.
All their eyes. Does the, well, you know, you're afraid. Does the, in Harry Potter 2, the giant snake, does that freak you out at all?
Oh, I hate that.
That's a horrible movie if you have phobias because it's giant spiders and giant snakes.
Yeah. The spider thing's like weird to me in that movie, but I'm not like, oh, I can't watch this. I can't watch any scene where that snake's in it.
Yeah.
Ugh. Like where it slithers across the table and eats that chick that's levitating in the air. Where they're
Oh, that snake. Yeah, you're talking about a different snake.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's the one I'm
Yeah,
talking
that
about.
one's freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The the basilisk.
Yeah,
the
that's
basilisk.
the one I
I'm
was talking
not.
about.
The basilisk, like, oh, it's so unrealistic.
Okay.
The other one, it's
Yeah.
not that far off.
Nagini.
Yeah, it's not that far off from
Yeah.
a real snake.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Dude, so that's you're not like super deep into Harry Potter like I am. That's like Voldemort's pet where he
Mhm.
put
I know.
he put a piece, I know you know that, but he put
Yeah.
a piece of soul into the snake
Yeah.
and just when he was like before he became human again, he was that snake
Yeah.
just slithering around.
Yeah. There is something
Insane.
about a snake and
Yeah.
that
And he became so snake-like in his
Yeah.
transformation and stuff. It's so creepy.
yeah. Oh gosh.
There's a lot of like religious allegories in that book where it's and just hero allegories and like just classic traditional stuff that's been through stories throughout time in such a different way than anyone ever presented it before.
Yep.
Where it's like nothing she did is like different, but she created a whole world and put all these stories inside of it.
Same thing with Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Has very very not direct connotations, but connotations of like religious aspects to
Yeah.
the whole entire movie, to the whole entire series, I guess. Yeah.
I'll never forget we were reading in 10th grade we were reading the Odyssey,
Mm-hmm.
that long ass book. But it was like and that book's so interesting cuz it's didn't start as a book. It started as a verbal story passed from generation to generation and finally someone wrote it down.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the first books was
Yeah.
like I mean it was the Bible and the Odyssey essentially. It was like these stories were told down from generation to generation and finally someone captured the Odyssey and that's why the
Yeah.
Odyssey's like such a big book.
Yeah.
But I remember that it's also a big book because it's one of the first that like details out the hero's journey.
Yep.
And every movie that we like now follows that same story.
Yeah.
Star Wars, Harry Potter, all the Marvel movies, it's
Yep.
all the same hero's journey where it's like this hero he doesn't pick to be the hero, he's kind of chosen or born into it. At first he tries it and fails and kind of denies being the hero, and every hero's journey they go through a moment of denial where they're like, this is not for me, I'm not this person, I
Yep.
can't do this, and then they come out on top and go through like trials and tribulations and prove themselves,
Yeah.
and then they come out and defeat the enemy of whatever it is. And the Odyssey is the first of that, and every story that we love now follows that same formula.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was thinking I've watched or started watching a movie on Netflix, The Old Guard.
Oh, I've heard of that. Tell me about it. I want to hear.
I've only started watching the beginning of it, but it's about a group of like mercenaries that do, different contracts, and it's based off of there's a company that's trying to create a DNA manipulation to where they can get rid of aging and get rid of like dementia and things like that. Dementia is the biggest one where they're getting rid of aging, so dementia will no longer exist. And then there's a group of mercenaries, and they've tracked down this one woman and figured out that she, like, they have one picture of her back in the Civil War, and she's still alive, and so she's part of a group of immortals. And so there's 4 of them left, and then they find a 5th one, and they can all like beacon to each other. So
I'm in.
It's really good. It's really, really good.
The thing that scares me though, you mean to tell me they solved dementia, and all these old fucks are walking around knowing what the fuck's going on? That's scary, dude.
They're all
is
acting.
this a dystopia?
They're all acting. Yeah, it's an interesting movie. Well, at least the beginning.
Yeah.
I haven't watched like past the first 30 minutes.
And it's just a movie?
It's just a movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
It's
great
really
question,
good.
though. So, if they find a cure for dementia, but it's not available to everyone, if you were provided the cure, do you tell people that you got the cure, or do you go around acting like you have dementia for a free pass, but you know deep down that you're just totally with it? I don't know. I don't know what I would do, but I don't know if I want people to know that I'm 95 years old and mentally with it. I think I want to have a leg up on the competition, you know? Like, I want them to think, I want to set the expectation low, and I want them to be like, oh, look at this guy, like, drooling in a wheelchair, and then I'll be like, 2 times 2 is 4, motherfucker. Hey,
I don't know.
give me a times table.
I don't know. Don't you think that would get frustrating after a while to be like, hey, I'm not an idiot. Like, I know what's going on.
Well, no, that'd be the game, though. Like, the people that know you know. Like, you're not going to be sitting here, like, yelling at me. Like, hey, what's 2 times 2? I'm going to go with 6.
Yeah, but don't you think it'd be frustrating for, like, the people who don't know? Don't you think it'd be frustrating to have to deal with all those people who think that you have it?
Yeah, probably. But you just don't go in public. And if you do, then they don't bother you because they think that you're drooling. They don't bother you. That's what I'm trying to say. They leave you alone. They give you a pass.
They don't bother you with complex issues.
Yeah. They go, hey, this guy's got enough on his plate. So just let him keep living his life.
He's struggling to eat every day.
Yeah. Hey, don't want to ask this guy, how's your day going? Because he probably doesn't know.
I don't know.
It'd save me a lot of time and hassle.
I don't know.
I wish the mask...
I'd probably get so frustrated and be like, all right, stop. Please stop.
I think a lot of people were worried that the mask would, like, prevent people from being social. I wish it would do more. Just quit talking to me. My mask falls off when I have to answer you. Quit talking to me.
Yeah, wear a better mask.
No, quit talking to me.
Or wear a bandana.
Yeah. I'm getting a hot pink bandana.
Why am I not surprised?
Bored at work, dude. Skate life.
Speaking of masks, somebody was just walking around in open public wearing a mask. What do you think about that?
Is it a scream mask? What if you just wore a scream mask everywhere you go?
That's the thing is, like, you can go into anywhere, and a year ago, wearing a mask into a business was not okay.
Yeah. It's weird going into a bank and being like, hey, can you cover your face, please?
Yeah. You walk them, they're like, who are you? You show them your ID, and they're like, okay, thanks.
You walk in with a Kennedy mask on with a face mask over the Kennedy mask going, stick 'em up.
Yeah. So weird. It's so weird.
The way I've been thinking about it is, because I really don't mind wearing a mask. It's just, if that's the thing, let's do it. The way I'm thinking about it is, if that's the thing that's going to keep businesses operating, just keep the businesses open. Why put them at risk if that's the law? And I'm glad that they kind of made it a law where it's like just no, wishy-washy.
There's no
like
gray
this or
area.
that. It's just like, no, it's just, hey, we gotta at some point we have to all be in this together. It's not about what any one person wants.
Yeah.
And the way I've been trying to think about it is like, do I want to be forced to wear a mask everywhere I go? No.
Yeah.
But if everyone's like, if that's what's going to help fix this, then I'm down to wear a mask. And on like a more granular level, if it allows small businesses to stay open, if I can go and give them my money while wearing a mask, I'd rather be able to do that than have all these small businesses close.
Do you think, though, do you think at some point in certain areas it seemed to be a problem to where it becomes an abuse of power, and then you can basically tell people what to do?
Yeah, I think this has been my fear of the Corona stuff since it started, is you give any power an inch, they're going to take a mile.
Yeah.
And you gotta, it's all about balance and stuff. And I don't know. I don't know enough about the political spectrum of like what's good for like to be mandated and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they kick things off in the wrong way by all the misinformation and different information that's going on and no mandates really.
Yeah.
So at least I'm glad that it's kind of like, hey, we they didn't do their best, but they kind of did leave it up to the people as much as possible to some extent. We failed. Like,
Yeah.
let's if and I don't I think if they would have kept the businesses open but mandated masks, I wonder if that would have been the better route to go.
Yeah.
Instead of forcing businesses to close. Like, it's a mandate one way or the other.
Yeah.
What's the less of a mandate? If it's it's a personal freedom, I don't want to wear a mask, but if it's helping the greater of everyone to stay open and stay profitable and healthy, then that's a sacrifice that I think as a country people have to be willing to make.
Yeah. It's also part of the misinformation, though.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
does it help?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and I think that's the part of it is if there was if they came out right away, and it's hard, it's changing every day. I get it. It's a new thing, and it's scary, and it's constantly evolving. But if they would have come out and been like, hey, we don't really know what's going on, but let's play this as safe as possible. We want to try to keep everyone having a job and keep things as open as possible. We're going to have to limit the amount of people in a space, so that might have some restrictions on businesses. And we just ask that everyone, not ask, but like everyone wears a mask.
Yeah.
And nothing else really changes other than the culture of, you have to go out in public and see people wearing masks. And that's kind of scary. It's totally, in other parts of the world, that's the norm, and it's not scary whatsoever. But it's new here, and it is kind of scary because it's like, it's a symbol of illness or fear or of being ill or something. And that mask is a symbol of fear for a lot of people. And I get that too.
You look at it in terms of, like Asian countries, you follow a mandate and you just do it because you were told to. Like in Asian countries, they've been required to wear the mask. So
they also have a lot more experience, like recent experiences with this type of spreading virus. And like in China, they're so populated that it's almost just like a cost of doing business to live over there.
Yep.
Like, hey, the air's so bad and there's so many people, it's better to wear a mask than not to. And it's become part of their culture. And over here, it's just not our culture yet. And I'm sure the way that things are going, it's gonna be. Even you look at like the celebrities and like some of the companies that are coming out with masks and stuff, it's gonna be a fashion thing. It's gonna be a fashion statement, and it's gonna become more and more of a norm.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think you're right. It's part of the thing that plays into a fear where if it was part of our culture already, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh, this another one of these things popped up, like time to wear a mask, everyone. It's like, okay, let's all wear a mask.
But like
instead everyone was like, oh shit, let's go get toilet paper.
Well, like you thought about it, you think about it too, and when you would see somebody at the airport, you'd see somebody at the airport and you're like, why are they wearing a mask?
Yeah. Like,
before any of this happened, like why are they wearing a mask? So now it's fear of, it's more fear of the known.
Well, think about
and unknown.
Think about, dude, if you have a cold, how many times did you go out in public knowing that you had a cold? How many times did you go into work knowing that you had a cold?
Yeah, all the time.
Never once thought about wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you shouldn't go out in public if you have a common cold or something.
Yeah.
But how much healthier would you keep people if you had the sniffles or something? You're just like, well, I'm just gonna throw on a mask today.
Yeah.
While I'm around people, while I'm riding the subway to work or something.
Yeah.
It's not that big a deal. And I think the way that a lot of America is looking at it right now is as a culture shift. It's like this mandate, restricted freedom thing. The way that I think a lot of the Asian cultures and a lot of the way that a lot of the European cultures looked at it during the pandemic, it wasn't this mandate restriction of freedom. It was, this is what we're doing to not help ourselves, but to help our neighbors and help the community. Yeah. And I think that's, America has a hard time looking at things that way.
Well, it's a selfish culture.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at
we're too big. We have 50 states. Yeah. You look at Europe. If we were set up like Europe, every state would be its own federal government.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the right answer either. I think there's too many moving parts and too many
Too many
Too many
opinions.
in every area. If you go down south, there's different group think. There you go to the East Coast, there's different group think. You
Yeah.
go out to California and the West Coast, there's different group think. You go to Midwest, there's different group think. You go to Europe, there's different group think. Every region that you go to, people you become like the people that are there and you have
Yeah.
commonalities and stuff.
Yep.
And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. And part of what makes America cool is that we have so many different aspects to America and so many different of those regions,
Yeah.
and somehow we all things considered, we keep it together pretty well.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
For people having
there's-
freedom,
with
we
the-
keep
with
it together
when
pretty
there's
good.
when there's massive quick changes like we've been going through, it's just a harder process to get the whole country on board to do a change.
Yeah. And there's always going to be those people that try to
And-
try to fight the establishment.
And every voice, like whether you're for mass, like super for mass, or super against mass, or somewhere in the middle, that's what makes America amazing. Is you should have the right to have that opinion. And if what also makes America great is, or not, that's such a like taken phrase now. What makes America like a amazing place to like live, and what made America like what America has been and what it is just like you're able to say, yeah, I disagree with that, but maybe you still wear a mask, but you shouldn't be persecuted for saying I don't think that I should have to do this.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where we're as a country, we're blurring the lines a little bit, where it's like we're going after the thought of what people have
Yeah.
versus their actions, and those are they're not always mutually exclusive things, where it's you're able to have like a free thought and think the opposite of what you do. You can be in this situation, you can have the thought of, I think mandated masks are restricting my freedom, but I see why the country's doing it, and I see how it's helping other people, and I don't necessarily agree with the mandate, but I get it, and it's something I have to do, and I'm going to do it.
I think the issue is
or you
people
take
don't
it
have
and-
that.
Yeah, or you take it and you go, this is a complete limitation of my freedom, and I'm against it, I'm going to protest it, and that's fine too. But
Yeah.
I think we're, as a country, we have to be more okay than we are currently with people disagreeing with the intention or the action of doing something, but still complying and doing what's right,
I
or
think-
doing what's asked.
Yeah, and
you know?
I think that people don't have a global perspective. There's always going to
Yeah.
be those contrarians that just say, well, I'm not going to do it just because someone else told me to do it.
It's crazy that Americans don't have a global perspective, and I myself included. I don't have a global
No.
perspective, but it's crazy that most Americans probably don't have a global perspective for how global of an impact we have. And maybe that's why, because we're sitting at the top, and
Yeah.
we
We dictate
we,
everything.
we don't know the downstream effects of what we have because they're not impacting us necessarily.
Yeah.
They're impacting other countries. Whereas if like a China was a powerhouse, or a Russia was a powerhouse, or England was a powerhouse or something, we might feel more like, oh, like that's the powerhouse. Like they're probably like big brother. No matter who's at the top is probably the bad guy
Yeah.
in some sense.
And I also think too that I don't know what side of the fence I fall on, but at the same time, I think because we have a free society, leadership is trying to make everybody happy.
Yeah, and you're not in a free society. You can't. I think that's part of the problem. You can't make everyone happy, but you also have to. It's okay if people aren't happy,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the people that aren't happy have to be okay with the decisions that the greater country made. In any presidential election, it's going to be a 51-49 type split for the most part.
Yeah.
So, in the two-party system in America, more often than not, about half the country is going to be dissatisfied with the decision the country makes of who their leader is.
I think part of the reason why there's so much communication about there being so much disagreement about what's gone on with COVID is because there's so much angst and so much frustration behind who is leading, right? I mean, there's so much angst and issue with who's leading, so it's become less about what the greater good for the greater good. It's been more about, well, let's go against whatever leadership is saying because we just don't agree with the leadership.
Well, and I feel like kind of too, we haven't had one single leader in all of this. It's
No.
been a lot of different voices
Yep.
coming to the party, and that spreads the misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. It's the Rock video that we talked about.
Yeah.
His whole thing was, "Where are you?"
Yeah.
And I think his was directed at Trump, but I think in a grander scheme of things, it could be directed at
Everybody.
everyone.
Yeah.
Who's gonna step up and lead us out of this thing? And if it's not you, Mr. President, who is it gonna be?
Yeah. And
Because I just don't. Take politics out of it. I don't think anyone has Fauci, Trump, Biden, whoever. No one in American society has come out and been like, "Here's how we're gonna get through this as a country."
yeah, we're just doing it because we're just doing it
Yep.
that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think
It's tough.
that's it. Yeah, it's another part of our society where, like what we're saying, everybody has the right to have their own opinion. So everybody has an opinion. Everyone's going to have an opinion, regardless of what side of the fence you land on. Everybody's going to have an opinion, and it is hard to be a leader in a free society where you want to give everybody an opinion. You're trying to appease everybody. It's very difficult to do. It's very, very difficult to do.
Yeah, especially I feel like in last like 10 years, it's just felt like the media and the politics have just created a bigger divide between the country than what I remember before, and what I like historically I've like glimpsed at before, where it's like, oh, like during that time it didn't seem, there's always like the you won, we lost, whatever, but it seemed like more so where the country was okay with the decision of who, like, okay, we all went out and voted. Here's what's decided. Okay, let's try to get him next time, but let's move on as a country.
Yeah.
I feel like the last 2 or 3 elections, maybe for sure 1 or 2, maybe 2 or 3. I feel like we haven't really been as a country like okay with the decision. It's been so glaring, like different parties where it's like this person won, so this party's unhappy, and this part of the country's unhappy, or this person won and this part of the country's unhappy. There hasn't been a candidate that can, and the parties haven't put up a candidate that can spread the gap. So it's like this or that. It's not like, oh well, there's a little bit of both.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say it would probably be
And then
Bush. It would probably be Bush Jr. his second term, where it's like a lot of people disagreed with the decisions he made in terms of going to war and all that with Iraq and everything.
Yeah, I think that going into that election though, everyone was kind of on board with like, hey, we just had a terrorist attack. Like,
yeah.
he's kind of doing what we think is, and then I think the stuff came out after the fact where people probably questioned their choices and stuff.
Yeah,
but
and it started to divide everybody at that point.
Yeah, that might be a deciding factor.
I mean, it's a pretty good
changing point.
It's a pretty good it's a pretty good barometer of when it started to change, because then Obama got elected and there was a lot of things that he did wrong, but there also needed to be a shift in terms of the political system of having a person who understands the aspects that weren't being brought up over the forefront of never having a black president.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was the right decision or not to elect somebody, he wasn't just elected based on the color of his skin.
No. Part of what Obama brought to the table that was so cool, and I think that what got part of the reason that got him elected, and part of like the success of his presidency, was he understood culture in America.
He brought a different perspective.
He understood pop culture in America.
Yeah.
He was on the younger side. He knew how to speak to the younger generations.
Yeah.
He was with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the unfortunate thing is that people made decisions, and people have made decisions based on, and this too, it's become, like what you're saying, everything's become politicized. The coronavirus is not about coronavirus. It's become a political thing.
Yeah.
It's never been about health.
Yeah, it from pretty early on in America, it was never about, hey, how can we get through this as a country? It became politicized, and it's who's right, who's wrong.
Yeah.
Who's right about this virus? Who's wrong about this virus?
It doesn't matter.
Hey, it's here.
Yeah. So make a decision.
Let's get through it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There's not a good answer. I just don't think. I think as America gets bigger, and as you have more cultures and more people involved in the United States, there has to be a change in terms of how the country operates. It's very easy when the population is 2 million people. It's very easy to have one centralized leader who kind of gives a direction for the greater good. But now it's too big.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find, I think what you have to find, and they have it a little bit, but the president also ultimately makes the decisions. And that I don't think you can run a country, because then it becomes like a monarchy. It becomes a dictatorship where you have one person making the ultimate decisions. You can't have that.
Yeah.
It becomes that one person's making the decisions. It's got to be you bring a group of people. You have people that you go to bounce ideas off of, and you make a group as a collective. And the unfortunate thing is, the group that's supposed to be a collective are the two most divided groups in the country, the House of Representatives and the Senate. They're the two most divided people who are supposed to be making decisions for the greater good, but they're more concerned about, quote unquote,
their affiliates are getting reelected.
For their delegates. No. The reason they're making that decision at the end of the day, and what a lot of this stems from, is selfishness. These people want to have a job. These people want to have a job, and they want to stay in power. That's what it is. We're human, and people want power. You give people more power, they're going to take more. They're not going to give it back. Once you give somebody power, they're not just going to give it back.
What if elections were like podcasts where before like every political speech you had to be like, and this electoral candidate is brought to you by BlueChew.com, and you just like knew exactly like who was in their pocket when you were listening to them, and you just were like, oh yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, and I think the nice thing is things have become more transparent. Where like you do and you don't know. On some of the major issues, you do and don't know who's in that candidate's pocket. But at the same time, there's a lot of dark money that you just don't know what dictates what. And that's the other problem, is people are so obsessed with money. Obsessed with it. So that's what dictates a lot of the decisions. It's a lot of it's based off of money at the end of the day.
Are there any new conspiracy theories that we haven't talked about?
I don't know.
With money?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm in the mood for conspiracies, dude.
Yeah.
I want to make shit up. Let's make up a conspiracy right now.
I mean, there's a lot of conspiracies around coronavirus and the timing of it.
Yeah. I don't want to get into that. That's too conspiracy. I want to get into some fun conspiracies. I want to talk about aliens, dude.
I don't know what to tell you.
They're fucking real. They told us. No, they told us there's out of this earth vehicles.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of conspiracy theories about corona.
What did I just say?
I think that's the only prevalent one. That's the only one I can think of. Oh, well, okay, you want to go to Jeffy and Ghislaine? I mean, there's a conspiracy for you. You want to talk about money dictating everything? There you go. There's the prime one. There's the prime suspect.
I do want to talk about Jeffy and Ghislaine.
And
I want to talk about Christmas.
Our Christmas sweaters? I mean, that might skyrocket us to the moon if we get those rolling.
I think we're too premature to even mention it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, just know, Christmas time, holiday season,
we're coming out with some heat.
We're coming out with some Yule log fire for you.
Yeah. This is going to be the one that we're going to be the most prepared for.
You thought that your Yule log was hot? Wait till you see our merch.
Yeah. This is going to be the one that we're prepared for. This is the one that we have a lot of ammo for.
Yep.
But yeah, that's... If we want to talk about conspiracy theories, there's the one. What's dictating what's happened? Who's dictating what's happened in this entire scenario? Maybe Ghislaine will be able to tell us. Maybe she won't.
Is she still in jail?
Yep. She's still alive, luckily. But like we talked about this. The federal prosecutor, her husband and son both got, I think her son got killed. Maybe both of them got killed. Someone came into their house, black mask on, killed both of them. It's not a coincidence. I'll just go ahead and say that. There's no coincidence there.
Is the prosecutor and her son?
No, it was her husband. She was the one who was she was the one who's investigating the financial aspect of
And her husband died?
Her husband died.
She didn't die, though?
No. They killed her husband and her son, I'm pretty sure.
Dude, that husband killed himself.
Not a coincidence, dude.
Killed himself. And her son killed himself.
Oh, gosh. Okay. All right. That's not the conspiracy theory I'm talking about. It's not a conspiracy there.
Oh, no, so they're admitting that they were murdered.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's not a conspiracy. Someone came into their house and killed them.
Maybe it was Jeff.
And is he still alive?
Do you think Jeff is still? That'd be the ultimate conspiracy. He could be.
Could be.
What if he's just at the island?
That's what that's the biggest thing. They just shipped him off, flew him to the island because they knew that he had more information, and maybe they're questioning him.
Do they know where he's at? Like, not that. That was a stupid question because we think he's dead. Do we know that island is empty? Like, has that island been secured for evidence or anything?
Meaning
or
like raided by the FBI? I don't know.
Or can it not? Because
it's a sovereign state. I don't know.
What is it? Jeffy Olympus or like what's it called?
Well, what is it part of? Is it part of the Virgin Islands?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know enough about the subject. I mean, if we want to go deep into conspiracies, we can do some research.
Just look into it, dude.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Look into it.
I'll look into it.
Yeah.
If I get murdered, though, you know why.
Killed yourself.
They're gonna be looking at my search history on my computer.
They'll come to me and go, God, do you know anything about Daddy Dirt? Like, looking into stuff? Oh, no, I thought he killed himself.
No, and then the thing is the people who are gonna figure out are gonna be the people who did the Don't Fuck with Cats.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are figuring it out.
Yeah. Nerds, dude. Coolest nerds on the internet right there. Don't fuck with cats. That documentary surprised me a lot. I was laughing almost the entire time, but those people are heroes.
Oh, yeah.
They're hilarious.
Yeah.
But they're heroes.
Yep.
They too went on the hero's journey. They too
went on the Odyssey.
Were confronted with a situation they didn't think they were ready for. They didn't choose it. It chose them. They tried. They hit a roadblock. They denied their journey, but they came back and they vanquished the beast.
How misleading is the title?
So misleading.
You watch the first episode and you're like, what the fuck is this all about?
But it's not misleading, it's just vague. Like it doesn't you watch the first episode, you're like, "Oh yeah, I get the title now." What else? Like where does this go? And you don't know what else is happening.
That's probably why they named it that.
Yeah.
So you want to keep watching.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It is one of the best documentaries put together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was done in a fun way. Like Making a Murderer.
Yeah.
That was like a good title too. That was more like documentary though.
Yeah.
Like Don't Fuck with Cats was like a 2020 Netflix documentary.
Yep. Or like The Keepers. If you watch The Keepers.
I started that. I need to watch it. I wanted to watch that with the wife, and then she couldn't get into it, so I stopped watching it.
Yeah, The Keepers is real interesting.
Because that's about the church, right? And the nuns.
Yeah, it's about the Catholic Church. I think
and there's a priest that was like diddling little boys, and a nun that knew about it and
killed somebody. One of the priests killed somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the nun knew about it.
Yeah.
Sorry, he killed someone. I just assumed, that it was something else. Because that's usually what it is.
What do you mean?
Diddling little boys.
Yeah, but that's how it started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
And
it's very interesting.
Dude, especially that was like back in the day too. So being a nun and having that type of secret and like the power dynamics between like priests and like everyone else in the church.
That one goes into
nuts.
That thing goes into more deep holes of how the Catholic Church operates. Yeah, that one's conspiracy everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's a scary organization, and if everybody thinks that it's just a religious organization, is blind.
Hey, dude, so snakes. I've shown you that room that's in the Vatican, right?
Maybe.
So I'll show it to you again. It's this. I didn't see it, but when I was there, but I heard about it and I looked it up since, and it's fucking creepy, dude. This there's this like, essentially like a. You know, like it's like an auditorium, like at
Yeah.
college.
Yeah.
It's this auditorium in the Vatican that the Pope routinely speaks at. And this is so you're
Oh,
the picture I show you,
me
you're
this.
sitting at the back, and you're looking at the front of the room, and it
Yeah.
looks like a snake's head and eyes like going
Yeah,
up to
and
it.
the fangs.
Yeah, and it has the fangs like coming down. Yeah, and it's even got like the tongue. Dude, it's the whole auditorium. You look at it, and it's a snake's head looking back at you.
Yeah.
It's so creepy. Like, you don't just accidentally build that.
No. Dude, there's a lot. I mean, that's the thing is the Catholic Church is probably one of the most wealthy organizations in the world.
You're for sure dying. You've gone after Jeffy, Ghislaine, and now the Catholic Church.
I'm not going after them. I'm just saying it the way it is.
And I'm just saying, don't answer your door tonight.
Dude, come on, please. Like, let's see. If you look up, I'm just going to look up something.
No, I'm just joking. I'm on board with you. Did you ever watch what was that movie that went in? It was like the reporters. God damn it!
This is going to be good. Please enlighten me.
It was the reporters that busted one of the first stories open on the Catholic Church pedophilia ring.
Yeah.
What was it called? I think Mark Ruffalo was in it.
All right, so listen to this.
I'm listening, dude.
Hang on.
When you said listen to this, I started listening.
An Economist article last year estimated that the institution run by the Catholic Church, mostly hospitals and educational institutions, spent $170 billion in the United States alone back in 2010. For comparison's sake, Apple had $157 billion of fiscal revenue in 2012. They spent that back in 2010.
On just everything?
Yep.
It's probably like Scientology where
It's the biggest organization in the world.
Dude, you see some of the art that's over in Italy?
Mm-hmm.
Almost all of it's owned by the Catholic Church.
Yep.
It's insane the amount of artwork that's there. It's insane.
Yeah. It's the biggest organization in the world. It nets the most amount of money in the entire world every year.
And they've been accumulating wealth since time.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. Since Christianity
Since
started.
the Crusades. They've
Yeah.
just been raking it in.
Yep.
It's crazy. You go to the Vatican City, it's its own country, dude. It's walled off. You can walk around the entire city.
It's a sovereign state, yeah.
Yeah. You have to walk in.
Do you have to check your passport or anything when you go into...
No, I don't think so. I don't remember doing that. But it's like a big entrance in. You got to like get let in, then it's kind of weird cuz you can't just like walk into Vatican City. You kind of have to like it's just the Vatican. So you have to walk into the Vatican, pay to admit. So you can't like walk into the gates and stroll around the Vatican City. You got to you walk into the entrance of the Vatican and you buy a ticket, or you've already bought a ticket or let in with a tour group.
Yeah.
And you're in there then.
Yeah.
You can't like wander around. But then once you're in the Vatican, it's just a museum essentially. And there's like that creepy auditorium and all the corridors and stuff are all around it. You don't see any of that, but you walk through the museum and you pretty much end up at the Sistine Chapel. And it's all just museum, but it's all artwork, wall to wall, floor to ceiling, and you see probably, I don't know, like a fifth of the whole thing, maybe an eighth of it. And you can go into like St. Peter's Basilica and stuff, which is cool. We didn't do that, but it's so big. And then I guess there is like kind of a town square that you can kind of freely walk around, but I think you have to go through like pretty much the entrance of the Vatican to get there. I guess you could walk in and go, I guess you could just go into St. Peter's by itself, and then St. Peter's Square is out there, but it's like a one-way street essentially. You'd walk in and have to turn out or buy a ticket to go in somewhere else.
It's
artwork everywhere.
It begs the question: is it a lot of just misdirection? Let people come in and see it. People get to see it.
Well, see, the thing is, like the Vatican City, I don't think there's like weird shit going on there. That's just where it's headquartered.
Yeah.
I don't think there's like, that's where like I think a lot of their wealth is, but their
Yeah.
wealth is spread all around, like
Well,
all
yeah,
around
yeah,
Europe,
yeah.
like all their
It's
churches,
spread everywhere.
Yeah.
It's spread around the entire world.
Spain,
Yeah.
yeah, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy though, like the churches over there. We have some churches like that here, but not
Yeah.
like the churches that like you and I go to or have been to. Like, they're not like that.
No.
Like the Basilica or like the one in St. Paul Cathedral.
Yeah.
Closest thing you're gonna get to that, but that's every church. Like you could go to a small little church that doesn't have any really historical relevancy, floor to ceiling, fresco paintings,
Yeah.
like just painted right on the wall,
Uh-huh.
gold statues everywhere. Like it's insane.
It's really bizarre.
Seeing where like they have like a whole I think in Florence we went to where Michelangelo's buried.
Yeah.
And, like they have just like tombs pretty much for all these like I think it was like Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo are all like buried in the same church, and they all have like their own little section of the church, like a little alcove where you can go and like see their tomb and stuff, and they have artwork all over it, and
Mm-hmm.
their tomb is a piece of art. Like it's
So-
marble
yeah.
sculptured, like
yeah. It's very interesting.
it's like to the Catholic Church point, it's creepy like how much wealth and art they have. But in some way, it's kind of cool how much art they've stimulated throughout the years. Like they commissioned pretty much the whole Renaissance that happened.
Yeah.
Like some of that doesn't happen without the church paying for it, and like
Mhm.
that added so much to like the culture of the world and stuff. So it's like anything, there's good and bad with it. But I think the bad with it isn't like the buying the art. The bad with it is how the hell do they get the money?
Yeah. Yeah, like how the hell did they get the money? How yeah, it's very interesting.
And part of it's just like any church gets the money, but they were one of the first, and they just did it really well and went on crusades early on and took over. I mean, there was a while where Rome ran all of Europe and parts of Asia and Russia almost, where
Right.
they like the Roman Empire was huge, and that was a lot of that I think was funded by the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be wrong.
I don't know either.
Because I think there was something with like the Roman Empire where they changed a lot of the religion too. Like the emperors were like, "Oh no, we want this to go this," and so they like altered the course of like the Christian religion and stuff a
Mhm.
lot too, in changing it. So I
don't know.
I don't know
enough
my
about it.
history well enough. I don't know if like the Crusades and stuff were really. I think part of it was Catholic driven, but I don't know how tied they were with the Roman Empire now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe it
I
just
don't
sounded
know
cool.
either. I don't know.
We'll have to get Dan Carlin on sometime.
Yeah, give us
Talk
a
some
history
hardcore
background.
history.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
So he can educate us a little bit, so we don't sound like idiots.
Yeah, a lot of my history just comes from Dan Brown books.
And I don't read, so I don't know much about. I don't have a.
Hey, what do you know about the Catholic Church? Oh, really just what I read in the Da Vinci Code.
Like, I don't know. I just don't have much of a history background about knowing any of that stuff. I'd like to go visit some of that stuff because I think it's very interesting.
Yeah. When one painting that I'll never forget, I was in Spain in high school. I went on like a trip there.
Yeah.
And one of the paintings was of the Crusades, and I think this is where maybe I'm getting like the Catholic funding the Crusades a little bit, where I think it was like the Crusades going into Spain and defeating the Moors, which were like the
Yeah.
Muslims in the area, and there was like this painting of like these knights on horseback coming and like just beheading all these people in a field essentially.
Mhm.
And like one of the close-ups was like a guy on a horse like slicing a guy's head off and like almost like holding it up, but I think like the painting was like him like mid-slice of it,
Mhm.
and it's brutal what they did. And then they had art that like glorified all that.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the art is that. I mean, a lot of the art's beautiful and depicts the divine, but then a lot of it
It's
also
all
depicts
subliminal messaging of like,
Yeah.
hey, here's like we're telling our history side of it too. Like,
Yeah.
what we're doing with the church is that's the other thing with the church commissioning it. That is some of the issue with it is they dictated some of it, but that's what's cool about like all these major like all the artists in the Renaissance and artists in general. They're even if they're doing what they're being asked and paid to do, they're fitting in their kind of punk rock F you to the man type deal
Yeah.
in there in
Yeah.
a lot of cases
Yeah,
too,
yeah, and they're
without
fitting-
them even knowing it.
Yeah, and they're fitting in the narrative of how it was
Yeah.
depicted.
That was the whole thing behind the Da Vinci Code. They hid all these clues in artwork so that the Catholic Church would preserve them essentially, and they would pass on the lineage of the Holy Grail, which wasn't a chalice; it was Mary Magdalene's daughter.
Yeah.
That was like the conspiracy theory of it all. And the part of the Da Vinci Code that was so interesting, how they like work through the story, was going into these different artworks and finding clues hidden within of it.
Yeah. Which maybe there is some of that. I think there's
mean-
a lot of that's
Yeah.
based on conspiracy
Yeah.
of that's how it was.
Yeah, it's like here's the art, here's like some conspiracy, and we're building a story around it. But like the fact of the matter is that stuff exists in the paintings.
Yeah.
It's just all you interpret.
Yeah, right.
You know, and
Yeah.
it's like it's fun. It's like anything. It's fun to be like, well, what if they meant this? And you could do this,
right.
and then
Right.
you know.
Because everything's left up to interpretation.
Yeah, like the big one in the Da Vinci Code was like the way that Mary is leaning away from Jesus in the Last Supper painting.
Well, Mary's
It-
not even in. Technically, Mary's not in the Last Supper.
And I think they think that it's Mary Magdalene.
Yeah.
And because there's like a clothed like woman, and
Yes.
she's leaning away from Jesus, and Jesus leaning the other way, and it creates this
Yes.
V shape,
Yeah.
which in the book is the chalice. It's that because the
Holy
chalice
Grail,
is
yes.
the cup,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
hmm and that's like the depiction of like Da Vinci painted the Last Supper and gave a clue that Mary Magdalene was in fact the Holy Grail,
Yeah.
and it wasn't this chalice that served Jesus's blood or
Yeah.
wine in the Last Supper.
Yeah, because she
you
had
know?
another kid. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well,
So-
because she's not supposed to be. She wasn't at the Last Supper. It was all of his disciples. So that's
Yeah.
the whole conspiracy. Is
She
there
was
looks-
she was essentially
there
one of the
looks like
disciples.
it looks like there's a woman
Uh-huh.
in the painting of the Last Supper. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, those types of books are so like same with National Treasure, where it's like this historical thing, but it's someone spinning and manipulating it to create like a fun story.
Yeah.
But I love that's how I like learning about history, and like that's how I know a lot about like European history is from those like the Dan Brown Da Vinci Code books, because a lot of his history of like the region and architecture and art and stuff is historically accurate, but then it's a story around it. So you get to like it's a fun way to pick up on like the culture and history of like other places.
Yeah.
Even in America, he's got some fun books that take place here that are kind of National Treasure-esque that it's just like, oh, I never knew like that part of our history. And it's like it has very little to do with the actual overall story of the book, but it's like it's part of the story, but you're picking up on history of it.
Yeah. Well, and it begs the question of okay, why are there certain images in the
Mhm.
dollar? Why are there certain images in different paintings during the Renaissance? What is that? Is there a meaning behind it, or was
Yeah.
it just part of it?
You think about our dollar, like okay, so let's design money. What's it gonna look like? What do we
Yeah.
put on there? Do we go and just put like fun things on there? They're like, oh yeah, this could mean that, and this kind of symbolizes this, and that's a good money. And then people go and like create conspiracies around it, or did people that were creating what the dollar looked like we're Freemasons, and there's a pyramid with a third eye, and that could tell other Freemasons this, like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see it going either way.
Mhm.
And it's probably somewhere in the middle where it's like, hey, this stuff has more meaning than what the lamest person is going to know.
Yeah.
But it's not like, oh, it means like there's this secret treasure map hidden on the back of the Declaration of Independence.
Right. Yeah, but it begs
It's
the
just like-
question, like,
it's like,
why
hey,
is that?
It's like, hey, yeah, we're the Freemasons were a huge part of this revolution. We're putting our stamp on it.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
like, why? We have nothing to do with the pyramids. Why is it? Why is there a third eye? All that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Should we finish these stogies in peace?
I'm already done.
You're already done?
Yeah,
Alright,
I'm finished.
I'm about done. Wrap it up, dude.
I'm finished, dude. I don't know what else to say. You had a lot. You had a lot going on today.
It's been a week.
It's been. I don't.
I was in a
have
lot of
much.
Zoom calls this week. Didn't get to talk much.
Yeah, I don't got much. I mean,
I got to swing the clubs today, dude.
yeah. You had a good week. You had a good weekend.
Yeah. You did too.
Yeah, it was nice.
This is your
It's a
last
nice,
year.
relaxing weekend.
You kicked off today, last year, your 20s, the right way.
It's not my last year, my 20s, because I'm not 30, because I'm not old as fuck like you.
You're 29 though, aren't you?
Yep. So
So is it you're kicking
It's
off
kicking off the last year.
the last year of your
Yeah,
20s
yeah.
today.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
What I just said to you.
You lost me.
You kicked it off the right way, dude.
You're welcome.
Swingers Club,
Hey,
some Trulies,
All
cigar.
you guys are welcome.
You're welcome.
Everyone's welcome.
Yeah.
We got real deep on this podcast.
Yeah. And if you don't know, you probably weren't there. But if you were there, you know. And you had to be there to know. So now you know. Comment Pickle Dog below if you're still listening.
Pickle dog. Pickle dog.
And go check out furryturkey.com for the candy collection.
We
and-
don't have masks, so don't go there for masks.
Yeah, we don't have masks, but you could cut the T-shirt up and sew a mask out of it if you wanted to.
Could, if you're creative. We only want creatives.
Yeah. Yep. Don't buy yourself if you're not a creative.
Yep. But it's up to interpretation.
Yep. So check out furryturkey.com for the candy collection, the Board at Work collection for some skateboard-inspired clothing, and we're coming out with some fun hunting stuff this fall. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, dropped a hint about our Christmas collection too. So keep an eye out for that. Love you. Bye.
See ya. Bye. What do I press? Red?